the main character of this story. Zhong, he was one of the best players in a game called Apocalypse. There he assembled a team and trained hard to become the strongest. Years later, he finally reached the point where he was just one step away from defeating the final boss. Together with his team, they managed to slay the last dragon. And Zhong Yi obtained the final fragment of the legendary scroll of Dragon Blood, just when he thought he had achieved everything he wanted, and that using the scroll would make him the most powerful player in the game. Everything went wrong. His best friend and his girlfriend betrayed and killed him, taking the scroll for themselves. Mu Chen's attack hit Zhong Yi hard, taking away 32 million of his life points. The system confirms that Zhong Yi is dead, with no chance of resurrection. Let's have a little backstory here. This wasn't real. It is the world of Apocalypse, a virtual reality game that brings together the best game designers, and took 5 years and billions of dollars to create. The game was set in the future, where alien monsters attacked Earth through wormholes, causing humans and creatures to mutate. If people didn't play the game, they would be killed by the system and turned into NPCs. No one wanted that, so everyone joined the game. But after the open beta, players faced a serious problem. They couldn't log out and had to stay in the game forever. Johnny had been stuck in Apocalypse for 8 years, and well, he couldn't accept the betrayal. Suddenly he opens his eyes in a dark room and realizes he's been reborn to August 28th, 2025, just before the game is set to launch. He's baffled because at this time, that game had not been introduced. Soon he comes to the realization that he must have traveled back to the time where the game hasn't been announced. Zhong Yi is firm that he will make Mu Chen face the consequences by taking his life. He hops on the computer and knows that he needs to find the divine talent cards scattered around the world before the game begins. While these rare divine cards grant rare divine talents that can only be activated through finding this card. In reality, the game developers, Sky Fortune Group, released 10 talent cards, which are randomly placed in different locations worldwide. For his past experiences, Zhong Yi knows the first card is located on the top floor of Jinmao Building, the tallest shopping building in Lini City. Without hesitation, he rushes there. And sure enough, he finds a card right where he expected. But just as he reaches for it, someone stops him. It's Liu Chengzhe, the young master of the building, an heir to the largest real estate group in the city. He claims that the building and the card belong to him. He ignores his warning and moves toward the card. But Liu Chengzhe surrounds him with guards, and he's determined to teach Yi a lesson for trying to take what doesn't belong to him. He moves quickly, his eyes locked on the card. Liu Chengzhe orders his guards to shoot. Bullets fly right at Zhong Yi, but he manages to dodge them. He rushes forward like an arrow, knowing exactly when the game will start and how to steal the card. As he reaches the card, he leaps into the air and grabs it. Seeing this, Liu Chengzhe screams, warning him not to take the card. Just as Zhong Yi holds the card, Liu Chengzhe shoots at him. The bullet is coming at him fast, but just before it hits, time stops. The bullet freezes just centimeters from his face. Everything around him freezes. And it's exactly 12 o'clock. The game has begun again. A familiar system panel appears in front of him, asking if he wants to log into the Apocalypse game. Without hesitation, he confirms, and he's teleported somewhere else. At the same time, players around the world are being pulled into the virtual world. Zhong Yi, however, is teleported to a place he recognizes from his past life, the starting point of the game. His eyes land on a glowing divine level talent card, and he walks toward it before he can grab it. Feathers fall from the sky, and a tiny spirit appears. The spirit introduces itself as the system's spirit assigned to him. At the same time, Zhong Yi's attribute panel shows that he's obtained a rare divine talent card and a powerful skill copy, which allows him to copy other players' talents. The skill has a cooldown of 1 hour. John Gino has to choose one of 3 races: elf, beast, or human in his previous life. He chose the human race for a 20% increase in prestige income, which is important in the Apocalypse game. However, he's unsure which race to pick this time. The tiny spirit then notices something hidden inside it, the Dragon Blood Scroll, which was given to him in his past life. The spirit pulls the scroll out, which surprises Zhong Yi. The item that Mu Chen wanted still ended up with Zhong Yi. Suddenly, a roar shakes him from his thoughts. It's a dragon. Zhong Yi turns around and sees a large triangular-shaped door. It's a hidden dragon camp, likely unlocked because he has the Dragon Blood Scroll. He's confused because he's never seen this faction before, but decides to activate the scroll Opening the door as he walks through, he's teleported again, this time to a crowded place full of players discussing the game. Zhang Yi opens his control panel to check his stats. He has a skill called Dragon Race's exclusive passive skill, which is very powerful. The skill Inferno Dragon Flame is a level 6 gold passive ability. Every time Zhong Yi makes a normal attack, there's a 1% chance to summon an Inferno Dragon. When this dragon appears, it deals 150% of Zhong Yi's attack power as true damage to all enemies within range, though the chance of this happening is low. Its effect is almost as strong as a divine talent. Zhang Yi now needs to get familiar with his divine tier talent, and to do that he needs to find someone to copy and test it out. Noises are coming from the ruined carriage, so Zhang Yi quickly moves to follow this noise, and that is when his attention is caught by the bald guy. In front of him, this bald guy is reassuring another guy to relax if he has partnered up with him. Zhang Yi acts smartly approaches his shoulder, but when the guy shakes off his hand, Zhang Yi apologizes and pretends to mistake him for someone else, using it as an excuse to approach him, so that he easily activates his skill. This is exactly what he does. The system congratulates him for successfully copying and give him an epic tier talent, Treasure Hunter. This allows players to find treasure within the range of 500 meters. Zhang Yi's face brightens up with happiness, as it's an epic level talent. Just then, an announcement is made welcoming the player to the apocalypse. At this moment, a man is looking at the computer screen and continues making the announcement, motivating the players to enjoy the game, addressing them as my warriors. After finishing the announcement, the corner of his mouth lifts into a sly smirk. Back in the game, the same bald guy whose skills have been copied by Zhang Yi is planning to have no teammates, as he is full of himself and is confident in his own abilities, so he decided to venture out alone, though he is immediately stopped by Zhang Yi. He kindly reminds him to not act rashly, as it might be very dangerous outside carelessly. The bald guy pushes him away, accusing him of being a coward. After all, it is just a game. Then he climbs up a window before jumping out and mocks all the players, arrogantly to stay here and watch him play the game. And then he leaps out of the window before he could even get on the ground. He lands straight into the mouth of a giant spider, waiting for the players below. The bald guy disappeared immediately, and the system announced player no. 3580 has been killed with no chances of revival. The announcement is like a death threat among the rest of the players, who are now terrified as panic takes over. Zhang, he couldn't help but shout to everyone that this isn't a normal game. He continues to explain if they die in here, they die in real life too. This is a battle for life and death. The players finally understand this wasn't just a simple game. However, the system continues with the first mission, which is to find a safe zone. The instructions are to follow the small map, to find the 886 safe zone in District B, Hopetown. In Hopetown, their safety will be greatly guaranteed. The reward is an extra respawn chance. The failure penalty is death, and the remaining time is 3 hours, 58 minutes. While all the players are terrified and unsure about their next step, John Y quickly runs to the back of the carriage, based on his past life memories. Someone in the 7th carriage used a safety hammer as his weapon, and it is actually there as he holds the weapon. He remembers unexpectedly. It turned out to be a disguised blue quality weapon, so the other players were very jealous, just as Zhang Yi predicted. As soon as he touches it, the hammer transforms into a sharp weapon. It is a frost blade made of meteorite iron. This is not it he remembers precisely. There's also a hidden treasure chest in this carriage, so he activated his treasure hunter talent. The treasure appears right under his seat. He bends down to take that box. It turns out inside is Dragon's Breath Potion. Blue quality, it contains powerful Dragon's Breath. All the preparation is completed. Jung doesn't hesitate now and rushes outside the window. The moment he jumps out, he swings his frosted blade, carving a bloody path through the spider. With the superior attributes of the Hidden Dragon clan, everyone who sees the weapon in his hand can't help but discuss that this guy is amazing, though they know that surrounded by so many spiders, even if someone is carrying a legendary weapon, they have to do, well, Zhong, he doesn't care, so he continues dealing with the spiders. Human presence attracts more spiders. The players at the respawn point think Zhong Yi is seeking death. Meanwhile, Zhong Yi wants to attract even more spiders. When the spiders completely surround him, he instantly stops, takes out the Dragon Breath Potion, ready to let these monsters Taste the power of the dragon's breath potion. Instead of drinking it, he throws it straight towards the monsters. The potion bottle hits a spider's leg and shatters, which causes an immense flame eruption, and the spiders end up being caught in the flames. System notifications pop up continuously as he keeps leveling up, receiving 50 copper coins and health potions too. Zhang Yi holds the items in his hand, feeling lucky and hoping to get a few more of the dragon's breath potions. On the other hand, players see him easily take down tons of spiders and can't believe it. They think it is definitely cheating. But at the same time, some players think of going and forming a team with him, since they feel like this guy is quite powerful and has a higher background. After dealing with these monsters, Zhang Yi continues his journey alone, deciding to follow the map to Hope Town. Leaving behind those jealous and competitive people, all of a sudden, a man appears unexpectedly running straight toward Zhang Yi. The man falls to his knees, begging him to help and save his daughter, who has been taken away by monsters. Zhang Yi's expressions don't change a bit. His mind wanders to when in the past life many people got into trouble in that dense forest, but at the same time, there should be many good things hidden inside. So he agrees to follow this man. But little does he know behind this helpless, sobbing man is a demon wearing a smile full of evil. He starts searching for the man's lost daughter. But after walking for a while, he senses something's off. So he calls out for the man to ask about where his daughter got lost. Since the forest is pretty big ahead, he spots flickering lightness out of the cluster shadows. Though when he turns back on, not hearing any reply, the man has disappeared without any trace. At first, Zhang Yi confusingly looks around, wondering where the guy vanished, an odd feeling taking over his heart. But ignoring those negative thoughts, he keeps going straight ahead. Zhang Yi deep down clearly senses eyes watching him from the darkness, but he pretends to not notice it. The deeper he goes into the forest, the more he hears a little girl sobbing, calling out to her mother. Following the sound, he ends up finding the little girl tightly holding a lollipop. Jenny approaches, squats down slightly, and advises her to not stay here alone as it is dangerous. He decides to take her out of there. But at that exact moment, a woman with a well-proportioned figure suddenly appears. Beside her is the man from earlier. Coats of sweat covered Zhang Yi's face, as it was a trick to capture another prey. Zhang Yi senses a dangerous aura radiating from that woman, but his attention is shifted to the announcement from the system. A hidden mission. Rescue the little girl from the dark forest back to Hope Town. The reward is Talia's ring failure. The penalty is none, and the remaining time to complete that task is 59 minutes. Johnny's thoughts drift in his previous life. Several teams triggered this hidden task when exploring the dark forest. The rewards and experience points gained from this task made many other players jealous, so he can't miss this opportunity. Without hesitating, he accepts the mission. The woman licks her lips as she can't resist the human scent. Abruptly, her body begins to transform. A hand with sharp claws reaches out before Zhang Yi. There was a spider who was half human, an unusual aura emanating from her whole body. The woman threatens them to be good and be her food. However, the little girl, seeing the spider beauty's appearance, is now crying even louder. Therefore, Zhang Yi quickly stands in front of her to protect her and assures her to wait for his big brother, who will bring her out immediately. After comforting her, he takes out his weapon, the same frosted blade, and lunges forward towards the spider demon. He swings the blade and tries attacking its leg, but it has no effect, realizing it has toughened skin. The spider beauty laughs manically, and confronting his physical attacks has no effect against her. Then she swings her deadly leg at Zhang Yi, but he manages to deflect it with the help of his frosted blade. He slides backward. Somehow, the tiny spirit appears, her expressions full of worry. She explains the beauty spider is a level 20 boss. It is impossible to defeat her with his current strength now, so he should give up the task and leave this place. Hearing this, Zhang Yi glances at the little girl crying beside it. Such a thing as escaping alone is something he refuses to do. The tiny spirit slightly bows down, giving him an option to survive like this. Only at the moment something triggers inside him, commanding the spirit not to decide or predict his future so easily, and he rushes forward with wind-splitting speed. His eyes aim to kill the monster. Looking at the level 20 boss, he remembers seeing a hidden treasure chest on the World Channel. In his last life, perhaps that skill book is the way to deal with it. Having this thought, he quickly activates the treasure hunter talent. A golden light flashes in his eyes, The treasure chest is at a tree. But in a flash, the spider beauty appears right in front of him, spreading her legs to surround him, trying to put him in a pincer attack. Zhang Yi's agility helps him this time, and he steps backward quickly. This would be the death of him, if just one leg of the spider beauty would have hit him. So he needs to be very careful and shouldn't lose his calm, no matter what happens, studying his body language. The spider beauty could tell his target is not her, but something else somehow. Zhang Yi quickly reaches the treasure chest. The spider beauty turns around, witnessing him opening the chest. A lightning bolt emits from her palm to attack him, but it was too late. Zhang Yi has already opened the treasure chest, successfully obtaining the blue-quality lightning chain skill book. Realizing it is a hidden skill, Zhang Yi is extremely overjoyed. It unleashes lightning that can bounce back and forth between enemies, dealing 200 points of magic damage for each unit kill. The damage of the lightning chain increases by 10%. Still rejoicing, Zhang Yi is unaware that Spider Beauty's minions are surrounding him. While the Spider Beauty is gathering a lightning energy ball. To strike him with it, she screams angrily, commanding her strike to tear him apart. Without wasting any second, Zhang Yi places his hand on the skill book and absorbs its energy. A powerful lightning bolt forms from his palm too. It is an AoE attack lightning chain. The Spider Beauty's jaw drops in fear. Scary lightning is unleashed. With the help of the technique learned from the skill book, and the lightning struck down, destroying the woman's limbs. Zhang Yi can't help but smirk. By letting her taste the power of this immensely powerful attack, she ends up disappearing. The system congratulates Zhang for completing the hidden quest, obtaining an epic item, the Poisonous Fang Dagger, as a reward, made from the poisonous fangs of spiders, and deals 20 points of poison damage per second to enemies. Pressing forward, the little girl is happily LED back to Hope Town by Zhang Yi. As soon as they enter Hope Town, familiar faces stare at him, none other than Lu Changzhe and his subordinates. One of the guys points at Jiang, reminding Lu Changzhe that it is the same guy who stole his divine talent card. Lu Chengzhe's face turns crimson red. He grinds his teeth, clenches his fists, and orders his subordinates to send someone to keep an eye on him. Ignoring the hateful eyes, Zhang Yi holds the little girl's hand and walks into Hope Village. It is night, but still the hustle and bustle hasn't died down. The little girl looks at Zhang Yi with innocence in her eyes and expresses her gratitude for returning her safely to her home. Right after the little girl vanishes, the system congratulates Zhang Yi on completing the hidden task and obtaining the reward. It is Talia's ring, which increases luck points by 55. Zhang Yi is thrilled looking at the shining golden ring on his hand. It is even equipment that can increase luck. In the apocalypse, luck is an extremely rare attribute. The higher the player's luck value, the more bountiful the task rewards. Despite that, his attention shifts when a voice breaks in. He followed the sound a blacksmith is attentively working and energetically promoting enhancement skills. Seeing him working Zhang, he can't help but ask if he is using cheats, because how can a success rate of enhancing be so high? So the guy standing beside him explains, his talent is enhancement and forging. After a while of diligent forging, the guy holds a shining sword in his hand. Everyone is impressed by his skill. Amazed at how he managed to forge such strong equipment, Zhang Yi decided to try it out. Thus he touched the blacksmith's shoulder, successfully copied the epic talent enhancement and forging, and the success rate of equipment enhancement increased by 50%. Then he took out his poisonous Fang Dagger, placed the dagger on the surface, and raised his hammer. As he hits the hammer on the dagger, each hammer strike represents a successful enhancement, and in no time, he enhances the dagger from level 2 to level 5. With this talent, he doesn't have to worry about the enhancement of equipment. In the future, it might even be a business opportunity too. People around him are shocked to see this person having a plunder. 15 level epic weapon. They all know plus 15 is so rare, but it's even an epic tier, which is unbelievable. Their expressions are mixed with envy and curiosity. Suddenly sweat trickles down his face, and his vision blurs too. He pants and loses his collar, as he is finding it hard to breathe, and can only hear people's discussion. However, the same tiny spirit appears, reminding him his fatigue value has almost reached the limit, so he needs to head towards the nearest tavern to rest. Hence Zhang Yi decides to rest first, before increasing his level outside the city. But in a hidden corner, someone is secretly watching him. Zhang Wei easily finds a tavern. It is a special place for players to rest and adjust after a battle. Entering inside, he places a gold coin and requests the receptionist for one room. On the way to his room, he overhears a conversation between a guy and a girl. The guy is asking if she has seen the World Channel and mentions that someone completed a hidden task in the dark forest. The girl responds that the person is really lucky and even received an epic tier weapon. In his thoughts, Zhang, he believes that luck is also a part of strength, but he will use his strength to catch hold of good luck later on. In the tavern room, Zhang, he lies on his bed, his eyes staring at the ceiling. He thinks to quickly reach level 20. Only that way will he be able to learn stronger skills. When players reach level 20, they will get job advancement, any one profession out of the 7, which includes Knight Berserker Assassin, Mage Archer, Priest, or Beast Tamer, thinking of the one who was the reason behind his death. In his past life, hunger for revenge fills his eyes. The next morning, he leaves the inn, walks in the forest for a while, but suddenly stops as he senses someone. So he asks them to stop sneaking around and come out, discovering a group of people stepping out of the bushes, calling him lucky for the last time, and challenges him to run again to test his luck. Each of his men looks aggressive. Before Zhang, he could respond, Liu Chengze signaled his men to attack, though Zhang calmly activated the forced PK mode, raising his hand and releasing a lightning bolt. Zhang is confident he was thinking about showing his new skill, Lightning Chain, and this is definitely the perfect time. But strangely, the lightning grows weak and vanishes completely. Jianji panics, wondering if he has been silenced. Just then beside Liu Chengze, there's a guy standing in a cloak. It is he who made him unable to use his skills. This is an alarming situation for Zhang, while panic washes over his face. Liu Chengzi suggests he accept his fate immediately. A guy from their group charges forward, swings his fist to hit Zhang, but he stands firm, his lips curled into a mysterious smile. The whole group is shocked, realizing he is not taking any damage and his equipment is too good. Their damage isn't high enough. Frustratingly, Liu Cheng summons his weapon. It is a blue quality weapon, and it has even been enhanced to plus 115 level. It is a bow as he shoots the arrow. It quickly splits into countless arrows, but Zhang, he stands unfazed. Some scratches appeared on his face, but he is still smirking. The total number of these arrows exceeds 100, which should meet the trigger conditions. The trigger which can summon an inferno dragon. The dragon with its massive wings and red flames appears beside Zhang. It roars, shaking the whole surrounding scared. The group tries running, but they have been frozen by Zhang, and with its master command, the dragon attacks them with a combination skill, including an AoE attack and inferno dragon flames. In an instant, the Luo Cheng-ze group disappears, leaving a few pieces of equipment behind. Smiling, Zhang picks up Cheng-ze's weapon, and just with the experience points and equipment, he is now upgraded to level 20. The item he has just obtained is a blue quality silver moon bow of plus 115 level. The arrow splits into 100 after being shot and will fall like meteors. Finally, the system congratulates him on reaching level 20 and allows him to proceed to the main game, to find a job change officer, to start the job change trial. At the Hope Village's Fountain of Revival, Liu Chengze and his group appear there. Players with revival chances are revived at the nearest Fountain of Revival. After death, at this moment, Zhang Yi walks around admiring the moon bow that he has just obtained. Liu Chengze turns crimson. His blood boils with rage, threatening him to wait as he will settle the score one day. But Zhang Yi is on cloud 9 right now. So he ignores him and heads straight to the main gate, where there's an NPC for player class changes. Arriving there, he informs NPC about changing his class. The NPC raises his one hand. A red vortex appears, and just like that, the class change palace has been opened. When he steps inside, it's like he has teleported to somewhere. He is standing in a completely unfamiliar place. Looking around, there are 7 figures that obviously represent the 7 professions in the apocalypse: Knight Berserker Assassin, Mage Archer, Priest, and Beast Tamer. Out of these 7, Beast Tamer is the least popular class. He approaches an old man wrapped in a cloak representing a Beast Tamer, even though a Beast Tamer can summon magical beasts to battle and tank. For him, raising magical beasts isn't an easy task. His mind races with countless thoughts, unsure of what to do, but he recalls he doesn't want to choose Beast Tamer. The moment someone starts raising the beasts, the beast tamer has to share his resources with them. But resources are scarce in the apocalypse, which stops the beast tamer's growth. Later in the game, this causes them to be eliminated, though only knights and beast tamer are deemed worthy for the legendary dragon lineage. In contrast, the path of a knight is a tempting illusion. Though mighty in the early stages, their power tragically fades in the endgame. He had witnessed countless knights meet their downfall in his past life, once they reached the final, brutal chapters of the game. However, the Burst Tamer path was a different story. Jiang Yi wielded a talent of divine proportions, allowing him to amass resources 10 times faster than any mortal player. His lineage even promised a future pact with a mighty dragon. Ultimately, he could forge a perfectly synchronized battle force. The ancient guide's eyes suddenly snapped open, revealing a vigil that had spanned an eternity waiting for him. As the final profession choice materialized before him, the ethereal spirit returned, pleading for him to reconsider his fate. But Zhong Yi's resolve had been forged in the fires of experience. With unwavering certainty, he chose the path of the beast tamer. As he accepted his new destiny, the old man touched a finger to his forehead. A deep purple sigil blazed to life upon his brow, pulsating with an otherworldly violet energy. Even a silver band of power materialized on his finger. In a flash, he was transported back to the familiar Hope Village. The class change official offered congratulations for completing his ascension. At that exact moment, 2 defeated players trudged by, their lamenting words catching Zhong Yi's keen ear. One of the men was chastising his companion, reminding him of the grave warnings about the treacherous undead town. As fate would have it, their team was utterly decimated by an elite horror they faced. Their failure cost them a fortune in precious equipment. Hearing this, a spark of intrigue ignited within him. He knew the undead town. It was the very first dungeon he had conquered in his past life. All he needed was a competent squad of allies. With a formidable team and his foreknowledge of the battles ahead, they could slay the final boss in a matter of moments. At that very instant, a nearby group of players shouted a call to arms for anyone level 20 who had already finished their class advancement trial. They were forming a raid party to challenge the undead town. Only 2 positions remained open for the taking. First to arrive, first to join. A mysterious girl shrouded in a cloak approached, asking if a slot was left. Seeing a powerful and beautiful mage, the leader warmly accepted her. Sensing his chance had arrived, Zhong Yi stepped from the crowd, expressing his desire to join. The party leader glanced disdainfully at Zhong Yi, seeing him as a mere mage with vastly inferior abilities. After all, he had just become a lowly beast tamer. But desperation gnawed at them, needing just one more warrior. He reluctantly allowed him to join their ranks in the undead town. A landscape of desolate graves stretched before them. The leader turned, sneering at Zhong Yi, asking if he'd never seen a real fight. He mocked that beast tamers had the most pathetic attack power of the 7 main classes. His intent was clear: to humiliate our hero. Feeling the pressure, he offered a weak excuse that he just liked creatures. Without warning, an arrow sliced through the air with terrifying velocity. The cloaked girl and Zhong Yi reacted with lightning-fast reflexes, barely evading the projectile as it violently slammed into the earth. The entire party instantly adopted a battle stance. The enemy was upon them, launching their ambush. A horde of skeletons erupted from the graves, swarming the brave adventurers. One of the knights swung his massive sword, cleaving through the undead abominations with ease. However, from his blind spot, 2 more skeletons lunged at him from the shadows. At the same time, the mysterious girl cast aside her concealing cloak. She tightened her focused grip around her powerful staff and unleashed a barrage of fireballs with her arcane mastery. A violent inferno exploded across the battlefield. The skeletons were instantly engulfed in the searing blaze. But in a flash, a skeletal assassin materialized from behind her, pressing a cold, jagged dagger against the helpless girl's throat. She was caught completely defenseless and shocked. Witnessing this, the ring on Zhong Yi's hand erupted with a violet light. It was the very same energy that had been granted to him, a gift from the progenitor of all beast tamers. An endless swarm of black crows burst into existence. The crow's ominous cawing struck terror into everyone's hearts. All around them, arcs of the same violet lightning crackled, the very energy that radiated from Zhong Yi just moments before. It became clear Zhong, he had unleashed his crow summoning ability. This was the Beast Tamer's foundational skill, to call a murder of crows to confound and assault his enemies. It inflicted a devastating 50 points of magic damage. The crows relentlessly struck the skeleton with terrifying bolts of light, searing its bones and leaving it paralyzed. Seizing this critical opportunity, Zhong Yi charged toward the immobilized skeleton. He effortlessly severed the skeleton's head from its body. The girl, utterly stunned by his power, attempted to voice her thanks. But suddenly, Zhong Yi seized her hand and pulled her towards the fleeing path of their companions. They had to escape from this cursed place immediately. As the party charged forward desperately, they soon stood before the gates of an ancient, foreboding castle. Zhong Yi declared to everyone that the final boss lurked inside. The knights would take the front, tanking all incoming damage, while the girl and Zhong Yi, the damage dealers, would unleash hell from back lines. Therefore, the rest of the team must evade any area of effect spells, especially during the boss's critical second phase. The very same man who had welcomed them into the group earlier found Zhong Yi's deep familiarity with this dungeon highly suspicious. But Zhong Yi just let out a nervous chuckle, claiming it was simply wisdom gained from countless previous games. With a strategy decided, Zhong Yi took point, marching directly toward the foreboding castle gate. In that moment, the entire group spotted his gleaming poison fang dagger. They hastily pulled up their system menus to inspect the weapon's attributes. The green-robed man stared in utter disbelief. A plus 15, level 15 poison fang dagger. An epic. How could a supposed novice possess such an epic weapon and know the mechanics so well? Was he concealing his true power? His mind reeled with 1,000 questions. A sinister darkness began to cloud the man's judgment. He surmised that Zhong Yi must be hoarding many more powerful items. It appeared that they had just struck the ultimate jackpot. As if on cue, Zhong Yi heaved open the castle's massive gate. They all entered the hall, a place cloaked in oppressive darkness. Flickering lamps surrounded them, illuminating a grand throne in the center, which was barely visible, shrouded by the deep, ominous shadows. The female mage instinctively stayed close to Zhong Yi's side, not out of affection, but out of sheer caution. He announced for the group to maintain a tight formation, warning that this place was far more dangerous than it appeared. In an instant, the other men in the group revealed sinister, wicked smiles. With a deafening thud, the castle doors slammed shut. The female mage and Zhong Yi were gripped by a sudden, chilling fear. The treacherous players' voices echoed from beyond the door. They sneered, telling them to wait inside like good little lambs, and that they would be back to collect their things very soon. The female mage cried out in terror, begging them to stop this madness. But Zhong Yi knew instantly they had walked directly into a trap. They had unknowingly joined a guild of ruthless player killers. Their plan was to use the dungeon's boss to eliminate them both. This way, they could claim all the experience and rewards for themselves. However, at this point, it was far too late. The rattling sound of moving chains echoed ominously through the chamber. A thick, unnatural smoke began to rise before them, revealing a monstrous, hulking structure. The boss was here. A massive, razor-sharp ice shard materialized in midair, instinctively grabbing the female mage's wrist with a firm grip. He pulled her violently away from that fatal spot. They dodged the attack as the colossal ice shard struck the ground, shattering into a million deadly pieces. The female mage turned, gazing in awe at the sheer destruction. She let out a shaky sigh of pure relief, voicing her immense gratitude to Zhong Yi for saving her life once more. But unexpectedly, jagged ice erupted from the ground beneath their feet. Before they could even process what was happening, a colossal, level 30 necromancer with razor-sharp fangs materialized before them. It levitated in the air, raising its skeletal hands high. It conjured two massive orbs of ice, and piece by piece, began hailing them down upon our heroes from above. Zhong Yi panicked, knowing that without a dedicated tank, they could never withstand the devastating damage from this boss. In that same moment, the female mage slammed her hand on the ground, forming a swirling, purple magic circle beneath her. Cloaked spirits with glowing, dark purple eyes rose from the arcane sigil. Zhong Yi was utterly stunned, seeing his shocked expression. The girl quickly explained these were undead soldiers summoned by her unique talent. She was an undead summoner, but they couldn't last for very long. They had to quickly formulate a plan to escape. The undead soldiers instantly fused together, creating a powerful defensive barrier through her system. Zhong Yi now understood the nature of her talent card. It was the divine-ranked skill, Undead Summon. It called forth deceased warriors from the world of Apocalypse to fight for her for a grueling 5 minutes. As seconds ticked by, ominous cracks began to appear on the ethereal barrier. Looking urgently at the female mage, he pleaded with her to buy him just a little more time. With absolutely no other option left to him, Zhong Yi immediately unleashed his powerful chain lightning skill. He sent out a devastating shockwave, knowing this boss's true weakness. The female mage resolved to provide him the perfect cover. She began casting multiple rapid-fire fireball spells, sending incredibly powerful flame orbs hurtling forward. She also continued to summon her loyal undead soldiers. The undead soldiers swung their spectral weapons, relentlessly assaulting the colossal boss. However, in that moment, Zhong Yi spotted the gleaming gem on its collar. It was the necromancer's very source of energy, and at the same time, it was its single greatest point of weakness. With cunning brilliance, Zhong Yi extended his hand, summoning a murder of crows and grabbing onto one crow's leg. He soared higher as the tension in the air grew palpably thick. Then he leaped and swung his dagger with incredible force at the boss. As a result, the boss let out a horrifying roar of agony. But the gem on its collar was now deeply cracked from that powerful strike. Zhong Yi landed gracefully on the ground. The system announced his victory for slaying the boss. The necromancer was vanquished, and he leveled up to 25. He had even acquired a magnificent epic item, the Radiant Staff, usable at level 30. It could unleash a powerful gust of icy wind, freezing all enemies within a 100-meter radius. It lasted for 5 seconds and dealt 500 magic damage. Immediately after, he presented it to the astonished female mage. As this weapon was crafted for a mage's hands, a simple beast tamer like himself would be unable to wield it. Outside the cursed castle, the three traitors wrongly assumed that their victims were surely dead, since it was deathly quiet inside the throne room. They then decided to venture back inside the castle for their spoils. Just as their hands reached out to push the door open, Zhong Yi kicked it open with such force that it shattered. All three of the men stood there in utter disbelief. They were clearly disappointed to see their prey still alive. But one of the men in the green robe was still consumed by grief. He claimed they must be exhausted after defeating the mighty boss. So he lunged forward, preparing to attack them. Gripping his weapon without a single moment of hesitation, Zhong Yi spread his arm wide, shielding the girl from harm. His eyes were now burning with a cold, unforgiving rage. He demanded to know the reason for betraying their own teammates. Seeing that man's evil smile, he saw the face of Mu Chun in him, the very same Mu Chun who had tricked him into believing he'd support him, no matter what challenges they faced. And just like that traitor, this man was also betraying his own trusted teammates. Zhong Yi then firmly gripped the female mage's hand. His sudden touch caused her cheeks to flush bright red. But this single handshake allowed Zhong Yi to copy her divine skill, the powerful undead summoner. Just as the man in the green robe swung his weapon beneath Zhong Yi's feet, a magnificent magical array began to form. To everyone's absolute astonishment, he summoned the very same necromancer he had just defeated. Instantly, the necromancer froze all three of the traitors in place, and one by one, they gradually disappeared into nothingness. The system announced that the players Heian Wang, Weidu, and Yusu had been slain by the necromancer. They had no more revival chances remaining. All of a sudden, Zhang Yi's vision began to blur. Cold sweat beaded on his forehead. He lost consciousness and collapsed onto the ground. But the girl rushed to his side before he fainted completely. He could just make out the face of the female mage, deeply worried for him. At this very moment, the system also announced that the player's fatigue value was at its absolute limit, so he needed to reach the nearest safe rest point. After completely losing his consciousness, he dreamt of the system congratulating him for clearing the stage. Zhong Yi now ranked second on the server-wide leaderboard. Painful memories flooded back into Zhong Yi's dream. A younger Yi sat on the living room sofa, complaining to his father about his uninteresting toys and begging to have an exciting new game, one that could keep him occupied. His father promised to give him a new game, but only when he could beat his own high score. His young face lit up with pure, unadulterated joy. His father then grabbed his belongings and started to leave. Zhang Yi could see his father walking away, thinking about how he was now trapped inside this game. He might never have the chance to play his father's game again. While pouring some water, he noticed a sealed letter resting on the table. He quickly broke the seal and opened the letter. Inside the letter, the female mage, Yarahan, expressed her profound gratitude. She was thanking him for saving her life yet again. She also informed him in the letter that by the time he read this, she would have already departed to search for her lost brother. She had left him a storage ring containing all the items from those traders. She believed he might need them on his future quests. She was certain that destiny would let them meet once again. Zhang Wei examined the ring, mumbling the mage's name to himself. After accessing the contents of the character ring, he was genuinely surprised. These treacherous people had been killing quite a number of players, as all the gear inside was of many different types. Taking a long sip of water, he felt relieved. At the very least, he wouldn't have to worry about his equipment anymore. All that remained was to find a powerful magical beast. He carefully observed the map within his mind's eye, thinking that if his memory served him correctly, the mysterious misty area to the north concealed a hidden dungeon, the legendary Dragon King's Tomb. It was the only pre-level 40 dungeon that dropped magical beasts. But this particular instance was not an easy challenge at all. It would be a serious problem if his teammates proved to be unreliable. Just like Hao Wang. The very next morning, He walked through the bustling Hope Village, constantly thinking about how to find trustworthy new teammates. Just then, his gaze fell upon a girl trying to recruit people for her guild. She was claiming they had many amazing benefits, like fighting mobs together to level up and helping one another in dungeons. Realizing how foolish he had been, he wondered why he hadn't considered joining a guild. In his past life, he had teamed up with the traitor Mu Chun as soon as he had logged into the game. He completely forgot that a guild is the best way to recruit powerful players. Upon entering the grand guild building, he approached the main receptionist, revealing his intention to establish a new guild. Hearing this request, the receptionist asked for a name for this new guild. He recalled something his father had once told him. The game's creator is also the god of that very game, and players are nothing more than challengers who dare to defy that god. So the only path to victory is to become a true god slayer. He ultimately decided to name his new guild God Slayer. The receptionist then instructed him to go and gather his companions. Now in that brief moment, Zhong Yi's mind began to wander. Did he really have to hand out flyers on the street? But he couldn't just randomly recruit anyone he met. He needed to travel to a place where more experts gathered. According to the events that unfolded in his previous life, there was a massive combat trial after the first survival mission. So he made the decision to visit this grand combat trial. All the most powerful experts from the entire region would be there. A special mission notification was then broadcast to all the players. It was regarding the combat trial. It was meant to welcome all the players. Hope Town would be hosting its very first 1 versus 1 combat trial. Any players who had completed their class change could now compete, and the ultimate winner would receive incredibly generous rewards. The grand prize included 100 gold coins and a rare epic skill book. The very instant he received this notification, he did not hesitate for a second to agree and participate. All the players, after giving their consent, were instantly teleported by the system to a massive grand arena. An announcer present there welcomed all the contestants to the first 1v1 trials. The location, the majestic Sky Battle Arena. All the participating players stood in a sequential, orderly line. Zhong-Yi glanced around at the other formidable players. They all had much higher levels than he did. He then realized he must have slept for quite a long time, and this was most definitely a harsh wake-up call. However, his full attention was pulled away when he heard loud voices ringing out, motivating and cheering for someone to go in for the kill. When he turned his head, he witnessed a player named Zhuni rushing forward with his weapon drawn to attack his opponent. Meanwhile, his formidable opponent, Wuji, with long flowing hair and bloodshot, intense eyes, effortlessly absorbed the raw sword energy of Zhening while his body levitated in the air. The blue energy began radiating powerfully out of him, and his opponent's weapon was now replaced with a mysterious, dark purple energy. Below him, the endless discussion and intense cheering continued. The massive crowd was utterly shocked, seeing the mage not even flinching in front of his powerful opponent. Wuji had expertly used the powerful Shadow Imprisonment, a devastating level 4 skill. It is an exclusive skill that completely imprisons the enemy in front of you and deals continuous shadow damage. The duration of the imprisonment and the damage increases with the skills level. Becoming frustrated by this complete humiliation, Zhenning began to desperately negotiate with money, asking if 1 million was enough for his opponent to throw the match. He claimed he would immediately credit the funds to his account. The staggering amount of 1 million made him recall his tragic past. Back then, if only he had possessed 1 million at that crucial time, his company would have surely continued and would not have gone bankrupt. He sat quietly, staring blankly at the painting on the wall. His heart sank with despair. It was a painting his beloved daughter had drawn. He tragically thought that if he had money, he would not have ended up with a shattered and separated family. He was standing at the edge of a rooftop, contemplating ending his own life. Then, the system's familiar bell suddenly rang out. It gave him the one-time option to log in to the world of Apocalypse. And that is the story of how he has now joined this game, because he had absolutely nowhere to go back to in reality. He now guarantees to Zhenning that he will never, ever lose a match or surrender to anyone. And he would never let himself experience the sting of failure in his life again. Just like that, he pointed his open palm directly at Zhenning. He struck him with powerful lightning bolts, sending Zhenning to his demise. The system congratulated Wuji for decisively defeating Zhenning and successfully advancing in the tournament. At this moment, he scanned the arena, aiming to defeat every single opponent. And at that very same time, Zhang Yi understood that this guy was truly on another level. Alternatively, the random matching of the first round of the duel trial has now been completed. Zhang has been matched with a new opponent, a man named Duan Feng, and is now instructed to proceed to the corresponding venue to duel within the specified time limit. Zhang Yi had often seen this very name on the World Channel during his previous life's journey. He could single-handedly clear all kinds of difficult, high-level dungeons. If he could be successfully recruited into the Godslayer Guild, it would be an incredible win-win situation for Zhang Yi. Over at the end of the 20th arena, Duan Feng, a powerful level 35 knight, was already sitting there, patiently waiting for him. Zhang Yi freaked out, as the game had only just begun, and this guy had already reached such an incredibly high level. Duan Feng rose to his feet, with a 10-level advantage. He magnanimously gave Zhang Yi a chance to make the very first move. Otherwise, it would appear as if he were taking advantage of Zhang. Seeing him act with such arrogance, Zhang Yi felt a little bit annoyed by his condescension, and he advised him to stop looking down on other people. The winner of this match was not yet decided. Meanwhile, Zhang Yi began the incantation for summoning his crows. Duan Feng reached for the hilt of his mighty sword, praising Zhang's unyielding confidence. He took a defensive stance and activated his unique skill, the formidable Sword Guardian. It's a level 4 Knight exclusive skill that can summon several powerful sword souls. Each individual sword soul can resist up to 500 points of damage and reflect the damage resisted directly back at the enemy. The total number of sword souls summoned increases with the skill's level, without even giving him a chance to attack. Duan Feng launched his own powerful, preemptive attack, and Zhang Yi ended up getting badly affected by the reflected damage from the powerful Sword Guardian skill. He lost 200 horsepower. It had all been just a clever trap, him asking to attack first. Concern creased his brows deeply. If he wanted to deal any damage to him now, he would first have to break through all 4 of the sword souls. Each individual sword soul could withstand 500 damage at the very most. This also meant that he must take 2,000 points of reflected damage, and his total HP was only a mere 2,000. Noticing his hesitation, Duan Feng charged forward, gripping his massive sword tightly. He directed all 4 of the swords directly at him. Rimindink Zongyi. That hesitating in battle is giving your opponent the opportunity to kill you. Jiang Wei retreated desperately while blocking the incoming attacks, knowing that if this continued, he would have absolutely no chance of winning. He had to find a way to shatter all 4 of the sword souls. Suddenly, an idea flashed. He remembered checking the powerful items collected from Hao Wang's group. Among all the loot was an incredible undead suit, an item that prevents you from dying if you suffer fatal damage. It recovers 10% of your total HP and has a 25-hour cooldown. Having absolutely no other choice, he quickly equipped the armor. Right now, at this moment, he could only rely on the life-saving effect of this powerful undead suit. After equipping it, without wasting a single precious second, he charged forward, using his devastating lightning chain skill. Duan Feng wondered if Zhang Yi had some kind of death wish. He would be killed by his own sword soul before he could even attack, because of his currently low amount of HP. He raised his sword arrogantly, claiming that it was all over. But little did he know, he had just triggered the undead suit skills, the incredible undead guardian. This would help him in not dying, even if he suffered a fatal blow. And just like that, his sword took multiple powerful hits. It cracked piece by piece, increasing his raw power. He shattered all the swords, much to his opponent's confusion. Duanfeng desperately tried to understand what had just happened, but in the chaos, he was stabbed by Zhang Yi's poisoned Feng dagger. He had finally defeated the mighty Duanfeng and successfully advanced to the very next round of the tournament. He reached out a hand to help Duanfeng stand up, praising him and admitting that he was incredibly strong. And if it had not been for his special equipment, he would have surely lost right from the very start. He then made a proposal for him to join his newly formed guild. He noted that there was a very difficult, hidden dungeon located in the north of the town, and if the two of them were to work together, they would definitely be able to clear it with no trouble at all. Duanfeng praised him back for his skill, and as for joining his newly formed guild, he said that he would consider the offer as of now. The speaker then announced, congratulating everyone for successfully passing the first round of the trial, and requested that they now look at the next round's opponent through the official world channel. The next exciting round is about to begin. Immediately, a familiar figure in a dark cloak stepped onto the stage. It was none other than the powerful mage, Yahello, and the person she was now facing was the formidable Wu Qi. The crowd began to discuss, urging not to look down on her. In the previous round, she had beaten her opponent like it was nothing. Uchi warned her that he would not be showing her any mercy. There is absolutely no place for sympathy in this brutal arena. On the other hand, Yahello assured him to give it everything he has got. Outside the Grand Sky Battle arena, everyone was gathering and calling for their companions to hurry up, as the epic battle between the two strongest mages had already started. Hearing this, Zhang Yi thought that if he could recruit the strongest mage, it would be a great benefit for him as well as his guild. Before he left for his training session, Duanfeng informed him to contact him in the guild chat if he ever needs it. In reality, Duanfeng was a certified training maniac. Though he had now officially joined his new guild, he quickly left behind a single message, hoping to see the news of Zhang Yi winning the entire championship. Otherwise, he would be embarrassed to have been defeated by him. Zhang Yi let out a laugh, putting so much pressure on him before the match, as expected of his new comrade. Out of sheer curiosity, he decided to take a look at the rumored strongest mage in the tournament, because everyone was so eager to witness this legendary fight. Just as he approached the arena, his eyes widened in complete shock when he recognized that it was Yahello and the arrogant guy from the earlier duel. Wu Qi Yahello's eyes were fiercely determined on her opponent. Gripping her staff tightly, her body was surrounded by a flaming, powerful aura. She suddenly cast an ice storm howl with her incredible ice gale skill, covering the entire stage in a frozen landscape. Wu Ji praised her for possessing such a good, powerful staff, and arrogantly claimed that he would make the staff his very soon, while he was just a little bit frozen by the powerful ice. Ignoring his arrogant and condescending comment, Yahello began to swirl her powerful staff, creating a massive magic circle with bright red light beams, and she challenged her opponent to try and survive this. First, she struck him with a combined, powerful effect of meteor. This incredible skill summons several deadly meteors, and each meteor inflicts a devastating 500 points of flame damage on enemies. The total number of meteors increases with the skill's current level. The meteors she summoned were raining down heavily on Wu Qi. Loud cheers for the girl could be heard from where Zhang Yi was observing. Yahello clearly had the upper hand in this fight, but he had a very bad feeling, and just at that moment, Wu Qi smiled and instantly countered Yahello's powerful attack, causing a massive, intense explosion. After all the dust had finally cleared, both of the players were no longer on the stage. Zhang Yi's thoughts began to wander. Is Yahello okay? Where are they? What is this mysterious skill that Wu Qi is using? At this moment, she suddenly appeared in the arena. Wu Qi held her staff, mocking her for daring to face him. She would have easily gotten into the finals if her opponent was someone else. The crowd criticized Qi Wu for beating her up so badly, and for cruelly taking her precious weapon. Zhang Yi calmly stepped onto the arena and offered her his help. Rather than caring about her own serious injuries, she apologized to him for not being able to protect the item he had given to her. Zhang Yi assured her not to worry and to just get some rest, as he would be the one to get into the finals. He would beat him up and get her powerful staff back. Time passed by quickly, and very soon, Zhang Yi and Qi Wu both defeated their opponents, and they kept successfully leveling up in the tournament. After all of these grueling rounds, the two finalists were the mage, Qi Wu, and the only remaining beast tamer of this tournament, Zhang Yi. One of them will strike, one of them will fail. Who will be the final victor? The entire crowd was eager to see the final fight, knowing very well that both of the players were strong enough. At this moment, Zhang Yi and Qi Wu were facing each other. Zhang Yi was looking at him with a cold, intense glare, which made Qi Wu assume that he wanted to kill him. So Zhang Yi confessed that he hates people who take things away from others. Without answering, Qi Wu slammed the staff hard on the ground, causing it to shatter, and then he laughed maniacally. However, Qi Wu then challenged him to get it on his own. Suddenly, everything around them turned pitch dark. The people wondered what in the world had happened. They had disappeared once again as he pulled the same trick from earlier. The crowd became irritated as they wanted to know what was going on. Now, Zhang Yi understood. This is why Yarrow Han had vanished. Qi Wu was creating another dimension. It is a rare skill called the Infinite Void, which creates a pocket void space. And the creator gains a 30% damage increase, while all enemies inside deal 30% less damage. It only lasts for 5 grueling minutes. Qi Wu arrogantly claimed that no one would be able to beat him in this space. Dying here will use up your precious revival chance, and you will respawn in this exact same area. He gave Zhong an option to surrender quietly, but without even replying, Zhong charged straight at Qi Wu to attack him with his dagger, but he quickly and effortlessly dodged the attack. This guy was barely giving him a single chance to get close. Also, there was no way for him to copy his powerful talent. Even his undead summoners were not useful in here either. Qi Wu used the staff to cast powerful shadow arrows, which damaged Zhang Yi, making him lose 700 horsepower. Zhang Yi groaned in pain. This was becoming very frustrating. Even the most basic spell could chip away 1/3 of his entire HP. If this continued, he would not survive a few more attacks and would surely die. But what if he could revive inside this very space? Thinking of this, he smirked and stabbed himself, receiving fatal damage. The system declared him to be dead, but it also detected one remaining revival chance and began resurrecting him. In this domain, warriors could instantly defy death's grasp, bypassing the sacred fountains of resurrection entirely. Zhang Yi's consciousness blazed back into existence. The ring on his hand pulsed with power as a murder of crows erupted forth. Qi Wu's eyes went wide with pure, utter disbelief. He accused his opponent of resorting to such a cowardly trick, but Zhang Yi declared that he would never forgive this man, even if it cost him a precious chance at revival. Zhang Yi then unleashed his relentless assault of crows, a tactic that Wu Ji absolutely could not stand. He then surged forward to press his vicious attack. A horrifying realization then dawned upon Wu Qi, a truth so shocking it nearly made him lose his nerve. Zhang Yi's speed had increased exponentially. He was a completely different fighter than before. Zhang Yi followed up with a devastating double lightning chain, shredding 800 HP from Wu Qi's very life force. Gripped by terror, Wu Qi muttered that he could not afford defeat. He desperately fought back, but Zhang Yi's power was now overwhelmed. The epic battle raged on, and with every ounce of his strength, Zhang Yi struck back with an insane, unstoppable force. Ultimately, he vanquished Wu Qi and won the duel competition. The spectators were stunned by how swiftly the battle concluded, but they all agreed that Wu Qi's humiliating defeat was justly deserved. After all, he had cruelly stolen the young mage's staff first. The host raised Zhang Yi's arm high in glorious triumph and declared him the undisputed victor of the tournament. He then brought forth the legendary champion's grand reward, a chest which, when it was finally opened, would bestow a random level 35 historic rank piece of equipment. Zhang amused himself, knowing that his level 20 Poison Fang dagger was no longer suitable for him. But a new, higher-level weapon would be a massive power boost. He opened the chest and obtained the magnificent ice and fire sword. Zhang Yi was ecstatic with his incredible new equipment. He was relieved that his gamble with the revival chance had paid off, and he was proud to stand as the tournament's champion. However, a voice soon warned him not to misuse his formidable newfound power. A short time later, he was swarmed by countless players begging him to add them as friends. Zhang Yi then returned Hanyaru's powerful staff, just as he had promised, and he asked her about the moment. She mentioned her desperate quest to find her missing big brother. He then invited her to join his guild. Instantly, his head spun as he was flooded with guild requests. Poor Zhang Yi was then chased by a massive mob of people, all of them begging to be added to his new guild. The initial guild size was limited to just 10 elite members. With each level up, the member cap would increase by 5. Zhang Yi couldn't just allow random players to join his ranks, especially since their party critically lacked a dedicated healer. However, with himself, Duan Feng, and Han Yaru, they could conquer the Dragon Crown Grave. Suddenly, a mysterious man appeared before them, and Zhang Yi went on guard. But Han Yaru immediately recognized him as a man named Qing Long. She wondered why he was here and demanded the whereabouts of her brother. Qing Long calmly explained that he saw her at the town's main entrance, so he decided to follow her. Her brother had left on an important quest, but he told Qing Long to protect Han Yaru before his departure. Zhang Yi, clearly bewildered by this, turned and questioned Han Yaru if she actually knew this man. Han Yaru confirmed that Qing Long was in fact her big brother's most trusted comrade. As the palpable tension eased, Zhang Yi then politely invited Qing Long to join them in the Dragon Crown dungeon, and he quickly accepted the offer and joined their party. Meanwhile, at the Dragon Crown Grave's foreboding entrance, Duan Feng was already waiting for them in a surprisingly good mood, as they all prepared to venture into the dangerous dungeon. Lurking eyes observed from the shadows, plotting a sinister ambush for our heroes. As they stepped foot into the dungeon, Henry was immediately impressed by the colossal statues. She was admiring the incredibly realistic details on them. She then moved closer to one of the statues to get a better look, sensing that something felt very off about the card. That's when the statue's eyes flared with a demonic red light as it came to life. Zhang Yi instantly realized the gravity of their deadly situation, and he shouted a warning to everyone to be extremely careful, because these statues were the Dragon Crown Grave's monstrous guardians. He then turned his gaze to Duan Feng, instructing him to tank the damage while they attacked from the rear, and he guided his teammates to stay close and stick together. The monstrous guardians began to step closer and closer and started their assault. But Duan Feng was absolutely certain about the fact that these pathetic, lousy monsters had absolutely nothing on it. He pulled out his massive sword and laid a devastating attack on the monster. Duan's eyes burned with a furious rage, and he swiftly brought the monster to its final dying moments. All of them continued their valiant fight against the monsters. Suddenly, a level 35 Dragon Blood Knight appeared, mounted on a demonic horse, with a blood-red sword clenched tightly in his fist. He began to gather immense speed and charged directly towards them to attack. Just at the right time, Duan Feng took notice of the new threat and used his sword protection skill to defend against the charging knight. He then summoned the mighty sword array, a powerful knight profession skill that causes 3,000 physical damage to all nearby enemies, and defeated them as if they held no power at all in front of him. But before the powerful knight was completely taken down, he chanted the ominous words, "Awaken, Lord Shigura." On the other hand, high atop the Tower of Eternity, a mysterious man observed Zhang Yi with a deep interest. He could see someone very familiar within his shadow. However, he reasoned that his eyes must be deceiving him, since that particular person was no longer around. His mind was then drawn back to a painful flashback, a man being brutally kicked off a cliff into a blazing fire. Now, deciding to toy with them a little more, he chose to drastically increase the difficulty for our heroes. Meanwhile, the greedy Dragon Crown, Shirgul, absorbed its dead underling's power and upgraded to a rank 2 Dragon Crown. Knowing exactly what that meant, Zhang Yi came to the realization that the final boss drops, the monster egg, would be incredibly rare. The rank 2 Crown Dragon's attack caused their HP to decrease as fast as a bolt of lightning, and if this continued, all of them would be well beyond saving. So Zhang Yi guided everyone to split up immediately. He told them to run far away and avoid the Dragon Crown's deadly attack. After that, he pleaded with Duan Feng to use his sword protection. However, the dragon's devastating damage was far too strong. Duan Feng realized that his sword soul could only block this one single attack, and he couldn't possibly block the upcoming breath of the dragon. But Zhang Yi assured him that he would take care of the rest of it. As the deadly dragon breath finally ended, Zhang Yi urged his teammates to attack the Dragon Crown's only weak point, its single vulnerable eye. Qing Long used his level 4 sleeping arrow. That causes a full 4 seconds of stun time, and he landed the shot, hitting it precisely on the mighty dragon. As soon as Qin Long landed his hit, Zhang yelled for everyone to attack the dragon with it, because attacking the weak point of the dragon crown can cause it to temporarily fall into a severely weakened state. And while in a weakened state, the damage it takes is increased by 100%. Following Zhang's expert guide, they all began to attack it together. Hanyuri used her powerful skill, Ice Windstorm, to freeze the dragon, and Zhang landed the devastating final blow, completely eliminating the monstrous beast. They had successfully defeated the greedy dragon, Shigula. As Zhang had expected, the dragon dropped some incredibly good inventory. This sparked his eyes with a genuine excitement. Zhang just wanted the precious dragon egg. He told them that they could take the rest of the valuable equipment. As Zhang tried to pick up the mysterious egg, some people entered the dungeon and launched an attack on it, but Qin Long heroically stepped in and took the damage instead. Zhang was stunned over the fact that Qin Long took the damage for him. Upon asking him for an explanation, Qin Long said that he was only repaying the favor back to him for having saved Hanyuru before this, though he calmly explained that he still had a revival chance, so he would be in town waiting for them all anyhow. He did make sure to warn them that if Hanyuru gets injured, he would not let them off so easily. On the other hand, Zhang yelled out at their attackers, wondering why they would dare to stab them in the back. So Lu Chongzhe stepped forward and smirked cruelly at him. He reminded Zhang that he had warned him before, that he would make him pay back double the price. One day, and that fateful day had finally arrived. Seeing Lu Chongzhe and his entire group, Zhang was stunned, but resolute. But at the same time, he told his friends that it was a personal grudge, and that they should just leave this matter to him. He cut his palm and dropped his blood onto the dragon egg, and he realized that it was his own dragon race blood, the rarest beast type in the entire apocalypse world. He used his own blood to forge a contract with the powerful dragon beast. The egg hatched with a massive, fiery explosion, and an adorable, yet powerful, dragon emerged from within. Duan Feng stood there, completely baffled, wondering if the magical beasts that are tamed by all the beast tamers are all so harmless and innocent in their appearance. Luo Chongzhe mocked him and laughed out loud, thinking that he could surely defeat it with absolutely no effort. The dragon did, for a moment, look quite harmless, but as the little dragon became furious, Lu Kongzai's arrogant taunts were returned directly to his face. The very moment the dragon released its powerful fire breath, all of them were left completely and utterly stunned. They were not expecting such a massive, devastating attack. The intensity of these powerful flames were so extreme that the people caught in the fire were melted down to their last moments. Their cowardly leader realized that it was best to save himself and run away. After their cowardly leader had escaped, the little dragon flew to Zhang and sat calmly on his shoulder, while Zhang and his group began to leave the dungeon. Han Yero asked who those people were, and Zhang explained. Judging by their strange and unusual getup, they must have been people from the opposing race camp. But he still did not know why they had followed them all the way here. Hanyuru was still quite baffled about that strange, ominous symbol, and what its representation could possibly be. Zhong Yi's expression darkened, as if he wanted to explain something, but he was not yet able to do so. Later on, they all went back to the main town. Qinglong became very excited to see the little dragon, but after seeing its hot and fiery temper, he knew better than to try and play with it. The system then alerted them that because an Area 86 player had killed the greedy dragon, crowned Shigura within the hidden dungeon as the loyal comrade of Shigura, the world boss, the Gold Skeleton King, will now descend upon Hope Town. Earlier on, Zhang Yi realized this event was different from his past life, and he remembered from before that with its lone, immense power, it had destroyed half of Hope Town and killed 60% of its players. Zhang Yi thought to himself that if only he could complete the heroic mission of killing the Gold Skeleton King, then the new Apocalypse Town would finally be open, and he would be able to finally find Mu Chun. On the other hand, a loyal servant presented 2 dragon eggs to his master, the treacherous Mu Chun, and informed him that in Area 86 they had encountered a powerful beast tamer, and that he had killed the dragon crown before them. And he had even signed a binding contract with the Black Dragon. Hearing about Area 8 to 86, Mu Chun surely found it quite interesting, as if he had finally found what he was looking for. And he then told his servants to leave his presence. He then opened a secret room, and a glimpse of a room filled with more dragon eggs was seen. The fearsome world boss, the god of death, the Gold Skeleton King, descended to exact revenge for Shigura. The demonic creature claimed that it was busy earlier, but it now had a plan to bury them all today. The great demon summoned its smaller minions as well, and they radiated a weird, strange, neonic energy. The people of Hopetown all gathered around. While some of them cursed whoever brought this upon Hopetown, some are now eager for the precious item drops. The system stated the mission was to protect the entire town. The system then generated a new task to protect the hometown and to prevent the invasion of the Gold Skeleton King. Any players who land the final killing blow on the Golden Skeleton and the top 3 contributing players will receive very generous rewards. Just like in the past, other than the final killing reward, it will rank all players according to their total damage. The higher your ranking, the higher your chance to get extremely rare, legendary rank equipment. And Joni knew that he needed to act much earlier this time, turning back to face his teammates. He refrained everyone from panicking because the Gold Skeleton King actually moves very slowly. If they maintain a distance of 100 meters or more and only use long-range attacks, they would not get injured by it at all. To bring this powerful monster to its final death, Zhong Yi urged everyone to follow his every instruction. He instructed Duan Feng to go near the mobs, while all the others followed Zhong Yi and attacked the boss. Meanwhile, at the same time, the Gold Skeleton King unleashed its skeleton soldiers upon the town. And while everyone fought bravely against the skeleton horde, one of them got badly injured by the skeleton's ferocious attack. The entire group put up a very tough fight, unleashing their attacks, but the skeletons were just too powerful. Meanwhile, Xiaoyu healed the injured man while the others fought. As the situation outside the town became more dangerous, Zhong Yi told everyone to head back inside the walls. The skeleton soldiers began to gather together to attack. Zhong Yi told Duan Feng to disrupt their powerful formation and to not let them use their devastating array. Duan Feng charged at the formation with his swords and cleared it, using his powerful blade tempest skill. Meanwhile, someone told a clan leader that if the fight goes on, all the rewards will go to those people from the God Hunt Guild. The greedy leader told him to go and inform the other guilds, clan leaders, because they couldn't let the others get the boss reward. Jiang, he couldn't stand this demon killing so many people, so he was about to charge and fire all his spells against him. But before he could, and to make Zhang Yi pay, the treacherous clan leader came from behind him, clarifying that they were here for the rewards, as they couldn't let his guild, Godslayer, take them all for themselves. Hearing this absolute tomfoolery, Zhang, he was quite unable to believe what he had just said. Did they really think that they could beat this boss by themselves? On top of being useless, they were now just being a nuisance. So Zhang, he showed no interest in arguing with them at all. If they wanted the rewards, they could go and get them themselves, as the boss of the skeletons was standing right in front of them. Meanwhile, the Skeleton King began to prepare its next attack. The Gold Skeleton King then unleashed a devastating, full-blown attack. But to Zhong Yi's absolute surprise, Xiaoyu, who he thought had already left the battlefield, stepped in and blocked the strike with her shield of light skill. She had figured out that their team lacked a dedicated healer, so she made the decision to help them out. Meanwhile, Qinglong warned Han Yaru to be extremely careful, but her left leg had become stuck, leaving her completely unable to move from her spot. As the Gold Skeleton King prepared to strike her down again, someone unexpectedly stepped in and blocked the deadly attack. With his bare hands, he told Xiao Ro to go rest and leave this all to him. The Skeleton King boasted proudly about his immense strength, but the mysterious man calmly pulled out his powerful sword and boldly challenged him to show him just how powerful the so-called Death God really is. The man attacked, but just as he expected, the Skeleton King barely even felt the attack. Laughing off the powerful blow, he taunted him, claiming that it only felt like a mere tickle. The man, however, responded by saying that he was just getting started, and he then entered a powerful berserk state. In this terrifying form, he sacrificed 1% of his own HP every single second, gaining a 10% boost to his total strength. This made him even more incredibly dangerous. He then charged forward again, delivering a powerful berserk slash that hit the Skeleton King hard, knocking off a massive 3,000 horsepower. Though the Skeleton King lost some health, it was not nearly enough to stop him completely. Roaring in pure anger, he vowed to make the man pay for daring to attack him, and he swung his massive, deadly weapon, The man, gripping his own weapon tightly, leaped high into the air to deliver a counterattack. Zhong-Yi realized that the man was using his own HP to power up, but with so little of it left, one single mistake could mean his end. The Skeleton King attacked the man with all of its formidable might, believing that it would be enough to finally kill him. But to its complete surprise, the damage stopped at just one single HP. The man's undying body talent had finally been activated, making him completely immune to all damage for 60 long seconds. The devastating attacks felt like nothing more than a mere tickle, and he could endure many more of these weak hits like these. Enraged, the Skeleton King furiously attacked him again, but even a full, vicious slash failed to deal any significant damage. Zhong-Yi watched as the man took each and every hit without a scratch, realizing just how incredibly strong he truly was. With its HP dwindling, the Skeleton King paused all of its attacks, seeing this as his golden chance. The man struck back and delivered a final combined attack, defeating the mighty Skeleton King all on his own. The Skeleton King dropped the Undead Ring, a level 40 legendary item. This powerful ring boosted all of his attributes by 10 points, and its embedded skill, called Death Power, increased the ring's attributes by 50% with each player that he killed. He noted that the ring was a very evil piece of equipment, and if it were to fall into the hands of a truly wicked player, it could cause some very serious trouble for everyone. He thanked the man sincerely for his invaluable help, but the man revealed that he had only done it for Xiaoro. Suddenly, Hanro ran up to him and hugged him tightly, calling him her big brother. It was then that Zhong-Yi realized that this was the big brother that Xiaoro had been searching for all this time. The man reassured her that he was fine and handed her the undead ring. The system then announced that player 886 had stopped the world boss, the Golden Skeleton King's invasion, and that a brand new city, Pashao City, had now opened. The big brother then bid everyone a farewell, saying that they should all take their rewards, because this place was now a part of their past. They all then proceeded to collect their rewards: the gold town soul armor, the gold belt, the dead peony gold bow, and the gold capes. Zhong-Yi received the legendary gold boots, which provided a 5-point boost to all of his attributes, and increased his movement speed by 100% for 20 seconds, with a very short 3-minute cooldown. It was a huge gain for him, and with the new city now open, he was one step closer to finally finding Muchan. The group admired their incredible new weapons as they reached the outskirts of the new Pashao City. It was clear that this city was a world apart from Hopetown. Qinglong felt a sense of unease, while Hanyaru found the towering buildings very intimidating. The town's demon tower loomed before them, 100 floors high. Only those who could conquer this tower were eligible to enter the Ion Tower. Zhong-Yi recalled the memories of his past life, where he had survived in the apocalypse for 8 long years, and had only ever reached the 50th floor. The monsters inside the town's demon tower are incredibly fierce, but the drops were well worth the effort. The higher the floor you reach, the better the loot you get. Zhong-Yi wondered just how good the legendary Ion Tower must be. Meanwhile, at the highest floor of the mysterious Ion Tower, the man watched Zhong-Yi quietly from above, saying, "The true game only begins now." He then noticed a group of people in a hurry, arguing with each other as they rushed past. Because the town's demon tower was closing in just a few short hours, everyone was panicking about the possibility of being late. He stepped in and calmly explained to his friends that the demon tower only opens its gates once every 7 days. He suggested that they take advantage of this rare opportunity and grab some valuable rewards from the lower floors before it shuts, since they didn't have any other missions to do at the moment. Everyone in the group agreed, and Zhong-Yi casually placed his hand on Hanyaru's brother's shoulder, suggesting that they should all check out the tower together. Of course, this was just a clever excuse for him to copy his god-ranked talent, the Undying Body, from him. But the Demon Tower was a solo-only dungeon, so they decided to temporarily split up and meet up again later. As usual, the ever-eager Duan Feng charged ahead, rushing in without a moment's hesitation, since it's a training area. The group entered the tower and started clearing the floors one by one. After successfully passing the 5th floor of the tower, Zhong-Yi leveled up to 40 and earned some valuable rewards. At this incredible pace, he figured that clearing a few more floors wouldn't be too difficult. Meanwhile, on the harrowing 7th floor, a deep voice from the darkness demanded to know who would dare to disturb his important mealtime. The booming voice belonged to Sean, a level 55 demon warrior and the former chief of the Pashao city invasion. After the devastating invasion had failed, he was sealed away inside the demon tower. Zhong-Yi realized that something was terribly wrong. Sean was supposed to be a floor 15 boss, but here he was on the lowly 7th floor. He would need to be extremely careful. Sean charged directly at Zhong-Yi, but when the black dragon attacked with its powerful fire breath, it did absolutely no damage. Zhong-Yi quickly realized he could not win this fight. Sean's attacks were much stronger than before. The tower was about to close in just 10 short seconds, and with barely any of his HP remaining. Zhong-Yi knew that he was in a very tight spot, but he boldly stood his ground. He pointed his sword directly at Sean and told him to just bring it on. Provoked, Sean rushed forward to deliver a final killing strike. But just as he swung his massive weapon, the tower shut down. The time was up, and Zhong-Yi was teleported safely out. Back outside, Zhong-Yi breathed a heavy sigh of relief. He realized how ferocious the monsters inside were. He was truly lucky that the timing had worked out, or he would be dead by now. Han-Yang noticed that her brother was not with them, but both Qinglong and Zhong-Yi reassured her that he must have just gone off somewhere. Zhong-Yi insisted that her brother was strong enough to take care of himself, though Han-Yang was still visibly very tense. Then, the system announced a brand new special mission, a massive guild war in the new Source City. All of the major guilds were invited to sign up, and the very first guild battle would take place in Energy City. Han Yarrow was curious about the teleportation device listed as a reward, and Zhong-Yi explained that it's one of the best items in the entire game, though it isn't much help to you in actual combat. If it were placed in just the right spot, a person could charge teleportation fees every day and make a massive fortune. Zhong-Yi realized it could help him track down the treacherous Mu Chun even faster. He told everyone to rest up for now, because in just 4 hours, they would all need to get ready for the coming guild war. He then asked Qinglong and Xiaoyu if they wanted to join his guild, since it was still very short on total members. Both of them happily agreed to join his cause. Meanwhile, on the 8th floor of the mysterious demon tower, Han Yar's brother was still stuck inside there, even after the tower had officially closed. Realizing that something must have gone terribly wrong, he noticed a dark figure standing in the shadows. He demanded that the figure step forward into the light, and a man with a weapon emerged from the darkness, lunging at him with a very ominous warning. "You should not have ever come to this place." The guy mumbled that all of the trespassers here must die. The big brother asked the man if he was an NPC, a guardian of the tower, or perhaps a player. But the man said that he was neither. He ran in to attack and tried to slash his throat as he soared high into the skyward. But the moment the big brother activated his skill, Immortality, he suddenly stopped when he recognized the god-rank talent. The man then gave him a single option, revealing that he was not in a very good mood today. So if the big brother promised to keep a secret about today's matter, he would graciously spare him, and as a trade-off, he would tell him a dark secret about the apocalypse. He said that not too long from this moment, the apocalypse will face a terrible catastrophe. No one can survive it unless, however, he did not complete his full sentence. And he told the big brother that that was all he could tell him, and that he would need to find out the rest all by himself before he left. The big brother asked him how he could leave this place, but the man simply told him 7 days from now, the tower will open its gates once again. That is when he can finally leave. Sweat trickled down, and Big Brother noticed that the mysterious man had stopped the moment he saw his god-rank talent. So he wondered if the catastrophe was somehow related to god-rank talents. He now worried that the coming catastrophe really did exist. Meanwhile, Zhong-Yi met up with his guild members and said, "Now that everyone has fully rested, it is now time to go to the Source City and give it our absolute best." Everyone was excited and very eager to know what was going to happen next. In the Source City, the great announcement said, "Players who die in here will not lose their precious revival chance. They will not drop any of their equipment, and they will only lose 20% of the crystal obtained in the Source City. The total duration is 4 hours. All guilds will be ranked according to crystal, and the ranking will refresh every now and then. The crystal has a fixed set location, but often spawns at the place where the powerful boss guards." Zhong-Yi gathered everyone to discuss their battle strategy. He told his team that they had a disadvantage in their numbers, so they would need to find nearby areas so when a place is attacked, their nearby teammates could go and provide immediate help. Zhong-Yi then told everyone to split up into teams. They all moved to their designated places. They were all ferociously dealing with many different creatures. Jiang Yi occupied a rank 3 water crystal mine. The system alerted the guild ranking. In first was the Disdain Heroes Guild, with 20 people and 10,600 crystals. In second place was the Hunt Gods Guild, which is 5 people and a total of 3,000 crystals. The third was the Promise Gate Guild, with 10 people and 4,600 crystals. Zhong, he noticed that the 5 of them now occupied a rank 3 water crystal mine, and if he wanted to get a higher rank, they would have to occupy many more mines. Meanwhile, the Promise Gate Guild's leader, Zhao Feiming, saw that Zhong Yi's guild only had 5 people, and that each mine had a very weak defense. They had far more members than Zhong Yi's guild. So he told his members that if they attacked each mine at the same time, they could very easily snatch it away. Zhao Feiming then told his team to begin their attack. They attacked Han Yero's mine and quickly got a hold of her. Zhao Feiming told his teammates to go and kill her, while Zhong, he was fighting monsters on his own side. He got an urgent alert that Han Yero was in great danger. He turned his back on the monster to go and save Han Yero. So the monster took the opportunity to attack him from behind. However, Xiao He, his black dragon pet, defended against the attack with his fire breath. Zhong, he picked up his golden boots and left the place to Xiao He, while he went off to help out Han Yaru. The system alerted that Zhong had used the gold boot skill, Gold Speed. This skill increased his speed by 100% and lasted for 20 seconds, helping him get a Han Yaru that much faster. Xiao Feiming pressed a sharp blade against Han Yaru's delicate throat, mockingly saying, "What a true pity it is that such a good-looking face is being wasted." He then asked Han Yero if she claimed to have companions. Then why did he not see anyone coming for her rescue? After hearing a loud noise from behind him, Fei Ming turned around and saw Zhang Yi rapidly approaching. Fei Ming immediately ordered all his members to capture Zhang Yi. As Fei Ming's members began to attack Zhang Yi rushed right past them, scattering them all aside. He stood directly in front of Fei Ming and called him completely shameless for attacking a single girl with his entire large team, Fei Ming scoffing that he had no time to entertain an arrogant peacock like him. Situ Yan's face contorted with rage at the utter rejection, shouting, "How dare you refuse my generous offer and deny me?" In a flash of fury, Situ Yan unleashed a vicious sword attack at the pair. Seeing the deadly strike coming, Zhang Yi shielded Han Yaru with his own body, urgently telling her to be extremely careful, and promising to get her out of there once he dealt with this menace. Without hesitation, Zhang Yi launched himself towards Situ Yan. Situ Yan snarled that not a single one of them would be leaving this place alive. In the very next instant, a flurry of flying swords disarmed Zhang Yi, knocking his weapon from his grasp. Disarmed, he realized he had no time to mount a proper defense. He could only watch as Situ Yan surged towards him for the kill. In the span of a few short seconds, Situ Yan's blade found its mark, piercing straight through Zhang Yi. He gloated that he wielded the power of a legendary rank talent. Han Yaru let out a horrified scream, crying out Zhang Yi's name. But then a violet-blue energy erupted, radiating powerfully from Zhang Yi's body. Zhang Yi revealed his trump card. He possessed a skill of God Ring. On the city streets, an epic clash unfolded. The monumental battle between Zhang Yi and Situ Yan was now underway. Situ Yan struck with a blade cloaked in an illuminating blue energy. But Zhang Yi caught the blade barehanded, halting it from piercing his shoulder. Situ Yan was completely staggered by this impossible feat. Zhang Yi then issued a cold challenge of his own, saying, "If your so-called legendary talent is truly that powerful, then you should come and try that exact same move again." The next second, Zhang Yi effortlessly plucked the sword from his own shoulder and casually tossed it aside, shocking Situ Yan to his very core. Situ Yan reeled, wondering how any of this was even possible. He was convinced it had to be some kind of cruel illusion. In a panic, he screamed at his hidden guild members, ordering them to emerge from the shadows and kill Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi directed a mocking question towards Situ Yan, asking if this was what he called a fair and honorable battle, when he had secretly planned a cowardly ambush from the start. Situ Yan shrieked at Zhang Yi, declaring that he would die here today. Situ Yan's goons rose into the air, completely surrounding Zhang Yi, attempting to overwhelm and capture him. A smirk touched Zhang Yi's lips. This was actually quite convenient, as he had been worried about not having nearly enough crystals. He then cloaked himself in that powerful violet-blue energy, blocking all their attacks. Situ Yan's members cried out in panic, calling Zhang Yi a complete and utter monster. They said he had used his body to absorb all of their attacks, as if his body was an endless, devouring black hole. Then, without any warning, a colossal black dragon with blazing red eyes materialized behind Jiang Yi. Jiang Yi calmly told them that if they were finished attacking him, then now it was finally his turn. In the next moment, the dragon unleashed a torrent of fire upon Situ Yan. Situ Yan screamed desperately at Jiang Yi, telling him not to think that he would hand over his crystals, just because he had now been defeated. Jiang Yi delivered a devastating punch to Situ Yan, finishing him off completely. A notification then popped up, informing all that Zhang Yi had killed Situ Yan and obtained 100 crystals. Zhang Yi let out a cold smirk, muttering that he knew Situ Yan would never keep his promises. Yao came out and asked Yaru what happened and if everyone was alright. Yaru quickly reassured her that everyone was fine and then explained, "Just now the Promise Gate Guild and Disdain Heroes Guild attacked us, but they were all single-handedly defeated by Zhang Yi. After some time had passed, they checked their current guild rank. Zhang Yi informed everyone that they now had only half an hour remaining, and if they wanted to surpass the Disdain Heroes Guild, then their only option was to utilize long-range attacks and snatch all of the Disdain Heroes Guild's valuable spots. They realized that they would need an absolute expert to accomplish this feat. Han Yaru stepped forward and asked Qing Long to attempt the task, since he was their party's professional archer. Qing Long apologized, stating that he didn't believe he could do it. He remembered losing countless times in the archery finals, the championship finals where he failed miserably despite trying his hardest. He recalled the crowds calling him utterly useless, trash, and mentally weak. Deep down inside, Qing Long accepted that perhaps he was truly not suitable to shoot arrows. Chang Yi placed a firm hand on Qing Long's shoulder, telling him that he was the absolute best archer he had ever seen before, and that he possessed the most incredible accuracy. Jiang Yi reminded him of how he saved everyone at the Dragon Crown grave. Under such an intense situation, he was still able to accurately shoot the Dragon Crown's vulnerable eyes. Compared to that incredible feat, it would be a piece of cake for him to shoot those worthless Disdain Heroes Guild's members. Qing Long agreed, stating with new resolve that he would try his best. They all cheered for him as Qing Long climbed up onto the roof. He took careful aim at Situ Yan and all of his members, set his position, and released a powerful arrow at Situ Yan. Situ Yan was standing smugly with his team, boasting that he had wanted to show off in front of Han Yoru, but he never expected a mere kid to steal his glorious spotlight. One of his lackeys quickly reassured him, saying that once they secured the coveted first place, Han Yaru would finally know who was truly stronger. Another member chimed in, agreeing that the competition was almost over, and their opponents couldn't possibly catch up to their crystal count. Suddenly, an arrow fired by Qing Long pierced Situ Yan's shoulder. It made him groan out loud in agonizing pain. Enraged, Situ Yan demanded to know who in the hell had shot him. His eyes widened with shock when he finally saw Qing Long. Qing Long smirked, promising to end them all in one fell swoop. Qing Long then leaped gracefully off the tall building, and they all charged forward to attack the Disdain Heroes Guild. The system updated, showing the number of people and crystals. Jiang Wei effortlessly defeated one of the guild members with a single, powerful swing of his mighty sword, gaining a crucial 200 crystals in the process, while Qing Long climbed onto another rooftop, lining up his next shot. The final countdown for the guild war began with 50 seconds remaining. 35 seconds later, Qing Long released another deadly arrow, with just 12 seconds left on the clock. Arrows rained down from above on a group near a cluster of crystals, taking them all out. Finally, the time ran out, and a voice from the airship announced that everyone should congratulate the Hunt God Guild for becoming Source City's undisputed champion. The system then updated once again, displaying the final count of people and their total crystals. Cheng Yi proudly praised Qing Long, calling his performance absolutely amazing, and he confirmed that he knew Qing Long was the strongest archer. The other members of the guild echoed his praise. Meanwhile, the defeated members of Disdain Heroes Guild asked Situ Yan why they were not going after the Hunt God Guild. Situ Yan angrily snapped at them, saying he had already lost enough face in front of Hanuro. Just then, a large, ornate case fell from the sky toward the Hunt God Guild. The host announced that it was their champion's reward, which they had earned in the Source City Guild War, and he told them to go ahead and check it. As they opened the case, they found a variety of useful and powerful devices. Zhong-Yi picked up the incredible teleportation device, thinking it would make their future traveling much easier and more convenient. C2 Yin walked up to Zhong-Yi, telling him to be extremely cautious during the upcoming alien race event. He warned that the powerful gods' guilds had already taken notice of him, and that his life would not be easy from now on. With that final warning, C2 Yin turned around and left. Henyeru, feeling very curious, asked Zhong-Yi what C2 Yin had meant by the alien race and God's guilds. Zhong-Yi admitted that he wasn't entirely sure, but he thought that it might be related to the black cloaked figures that had appeared at the Dragon Crown grave. As the evening began to fall, Zhong-Yi walked through a carved passage toward his guild members, unaware that he was being watched by a purple-haired girl from behind a wall. While walking, the purple-haired girl deliberately bumped right into Henyeru, rudely apologizing and telling her to move out of her way. In the process, she stole a valuable ring from Henyeru's inventory, using her professional assassin skill, which allowed her to steal other players' items. Qinglong yelled at the purple-haired girl to watch where she was going, as she had just bumped right into Hanyeru. Hanyeru looked at the purple-haired girl with deep suspicion, realizing that her valuable ring was now missing. She told Zhong-Yi that there was a thief nearby, as the ring her brother had given her was now gone. The purple-haired girl immediately began to run away, and Zhong-Yi ordered Qinglong to chase after her. However, the mysterious girl climbed onto a nearby rooftop, smiling down at them before completely disappearing. Qinglong then approached Zhong-Yi, asking him if he was able to capture the elusive thief. Zhong-Yi replied that he was unable to, as she had used a teleporter to escape to Moonlight City. Qinglong then asked about the mysterious Moonlight City, wondering if it belonged to some other powerful race. Zhong-Yi confirmed it, adding that the God Guild C2 Yin had mentioned might be tied to this alien race, and that they would need to investigate Moonlight City. Zhong-Yi also recalled that upgrading the dragon race's talent requires prestige from all of the 3 main camps, and only 9 of them can use the alien race's prestige. He then realized they could also find out more information about Muchun in the new city. Zhong-Yi then turned to Qinglong and Hanyeru, saying that they would stay behind with all the others, in case Hanyeru's brother showed up and couldn't find them. Hanyeru agreed, asking him to be extremely careful, and Qinglong reassured Zhong-Yi that he would protect Hanyeru. Zhong-Yi adjusted the powerful teleportation device, configuring it so he could return at any time if something went wrong. He then stepped inside the powerful device and ordered the man to teleport him to the alien races. Moonlight City. The man in the uniform simply nodded, agreeing to his unusual request. In Moonlight City, Zhong-Yi received a notification that he had been teleported there, but at the staggering cost of minus 100 gold coins. He muttered to himself internally, complaining that the teleportation fee was way too high. And just like that, 100 of his gold coins were gone. As he was walking through the strange city, he suddenly heard someone scream out loud for help. He wondered who could possibly be screaming at such a late hour, but he quickly realized that Moonlight City wasn't exactly the safest place to be. Following the desperate sound, he spotted 3 men bullying a young girl who was sitting on the floor, leaning against a wall and looking completely helpless. The young girl begged for them to just stay away, but they just laughed, taunting her to keep on running if she was so good at it. One of the men then raised his sword up to strike her, but Zhong-Yi leaped forward and positioned himself directly between the girl and the man. The man roared angrily at Zhong, asking who he was and if he knew the consequences of provoking them. Without any hesitation, Zhong-Yi struck the man with his sword, replying that he knew they shouldn't be bullying a little girl. The powerful blow forced the man to stumble backwards, and he quickly ordered the other 2 men to run away. He admitted that Zhong-Yi was much stronger than them. As the cowardly men fled, Zhong-Yi turned around, looked down at the girl, and asked why they had been chasing her. The girl nervously admitted that she had only killed, or rather, stolen a boss from them, and they've been after her ever since. Zhong-Yi then asked her who they were and why they were so arrogant. The girl replied that they were all from the Gods Guild, and that everyone in Moonlight City was afraid of them. Zhong-Yi then pieced it all together. Those men were from the powerful Gods Guild, and their outfits resembled the ones worn by the mysterious figures he had seen back at the Dragon's Crown grave. After this brief exchange, Zhong Yi decided to leave. He told the girl that she should hurry on home, since it was dangerous for someone like her to be out this late. But the girl stopped him, asking him not to leave her. Zhong Yi turned around and asked her why she was following him. The girl hesitantly admitted that she was afraid those men would come after her. Once again, Zhong Yi, with a slight gesture, told her to just follow him. She happily agreed, promising that she would not be a burden to him, since she knew the city well and could help him if he needed it. Zhong Yi led her to a nearby hotel and rented 2 separate rooms. He saw her safely to her own room. Then he went to his room and lay down on the bed, finally relaxing after a very long and eventful day. That night, as he was sleeping soundly, the mysterious little girl entered his unlocked room, holding a sharp knife in her hand. She then walked slowly toward him, thinking that this was her chance to claim 10,000 gold coins. She struck down at Zhong Yi, but he effortlessly dodged the knife, while still appearing to be half asleep. The girl scoffed to herself, wondering how he would be able to dodge her very next strike. However, Zhong Yi woke up suddenly and smacked her across the face, mistaking her for Mu Chun and accusing her of betraying him. The girl winced in pain, holding her reddened face. Zhang Yi quickly realized that she was not Mu Chun, but the very same girl he had brought with him earlier. Confused, he asked her why she was in his room. She responded to him innocently, claiming she had a nightmare about the men chasing her and was very scared. Zhang Yi let out a sigh, pulling her onto the bed beside him. He then reassured her not to worry, and he promised to keep watch over her while she got some rest. As the mysterious girl lay there beside him, Zhang Yi watched her very, very closely, realizing she might be slowly trying to lure him into a trap. He wondered what other tricks she had up her sleeve. The very next morning, Zhong Yi and the little girl stood outside the Moonlight Church, right in the heart of the city. Zhong Yi asked her if she was sure the gods' guild members were inside. The girl confirmed his suspicions, explaining that she secretly followed them, but she had lost track of them after they entered the church. Just at that moment, Mu Chun appeared right behind them, glancing at the little girl with a great deal of interest, and thinking that she was quite attractive. He then extended his hand out toward her, attempting to forcefully grab her arm. But Zhang Yi turned around, grabbed Mu Chun's wrist, and recognized him. Mu Chun, completely surprised, yelled at Zhang Yi, demanding to know who he was and how he knew his name. Zhang Yi, closing his eyes to focus his rage, calmly grabbed a piece of lunch from his bag and threw it at Mu Chun's face, replying coldly that he was not worthy of even knowing his name. Mu Chun fell hard to the ground, crushing one of the nearby market tents. The citizens of Moonlight City all watched on in utter shock. One of them commented that Mu Chun, who was always the one who was beating other people up, never thought that he would be the one getting beaten up instead. Another one called it instant karma, saying, "Things have just gotten much more interesting." Mu Chun gritted his teeth and asked Zhang Yi who he was and whether or not he had a death wish. The little girl then interrupted them, telling Zhang Yi that Mu Chun was one of the ringleaders in the area, and she warned him not to try and provoke him. Zhang Yi replied that Mu Chun was exactly the person he wanted to take down. He stared daggers at Mu Chun, thinking about how he expected someone like him, someone who had betrayed him in the past and who now bullies others, to be the one to finally face him down. The system then announced that the player, Mu Chun, had just activated his stealth skill. Mu Chun then stepped forward with his weapon in hand, declaring that he would kill Zhang Yi for trespassing on his turf. Zhang Yi realized that it was the assassin's powerful stealth move, which completely erases one's own presence from view, allowing them to strike their enemies from the shadows. He sensed Mu Chun's stealthy approach, but the treacherous assassin still landed a hit, drawing first blood on Zhang Yi's determined face. Flashbacks of painful memories flooded Zhang Yi's mind as he instantly recognized the familiar move. This was the exact same tactic that Mu Chun had used to ambush him last time. As Mu Chun leaped high into the air to strike him down again, Zhang Yi blocked the deadly attack with his powerful sword, determined not to ever let history repeat itself again. Mu Chun was shocked, wondering how Zhang Yi could predict his moves when he couldn't even possibly see him at all. Zhang Yi answered the man's unspoken question, saying that he would never forget Mu Chun's moves no matter what. With that said, he kicked Mu Chun hard to the ground. Chang-yi taunted him, asking if he had really thought he could kill him, and that now they would see who truly had the better ability. Mu Chun gritted his teeth and demanded to know who Jiang-yi was, cursing his own bad luck for meeting such a skilled opponent. Jiang-yi raised his sword high in the air to attack, but suddenly a black figure emerged from the ground, taking Mu Chun away in just an instant. Jiang-yi realized that it was the same group of black, cloaked figures trying to rescue the treacherous Mu Chun. He yelled at them to stop, but they vanished along with him. Afterward, Jiang-yi and the little girl arrived at the location, where the dark black figure had just disappeared, along with Mu Chun. The little girl then told him that this was the place he had been looking for, Moonlight Church, the main headquarters of the Gods Guild. She warned him that it was very dangerous inside, and that they might have lured him there on purpose. She asked if Zhong-yi was absolutely sure he wanted to go inside. He confirmed, saying that he had his own reasons. She cautioned him that charging in without a solid plan would definitely attract the attention of the Gods Guild. She then revealed 2 hallucination pills in her hand. Zhong-yi, looking surprised, asked her why she was carrying them. She whispered that every solo player should have a few. It was a necessity. She then told him that their target was coming. Zhong-yi used the hallucination pills to knock out a few of the soldiers, rendering them unconscious with just a single touch. He ordered them to just sleep there quietly. Afterward, he and the little girl wore the soldiers' uniforms, and they approached the church's main entrance. Meanwhile, in a secret chamber deep inside Moonlight Church, Mu Chun woke up with a loud cough, disoriented, and asked where in the world he was. The fair-haired man just smiled at him mockingly, asking if Mu Chun was frustrated after getting beaten by the mysterious stranger. Mu Chun then yelled, demanding to know who he was and why he had been brought there. The fair-haired man answered him very coldly, saying that a mere hostage has no right to ask any questions. From now on, Mu Chun's only choice was to simply stay put. Otherwise, he would die before he even knew what happened. Zhong-yi and the little girl approached the soldiers in a clever disguise, standing guard at the massive church's door. Zhong-yi told them that they were here to change the shifts, and that they should all go and get some much-needed rest. One of the tired soldiers happily agreed, saying that he was already ready for a very long nap, while the other soldier warned them not to fall asleep on the job. As Jiang-yi and the little girl began to walk inside, one of the soldiers suddenly turned around and grabbed Jiang, saying that it was not time for a shift change just yet. Without missing a single beat, the little girl stepped forward and made them both unconscious by waving her hand in the air, releasing her last of the hallucination pills. Once they were safely inside, she informed Zhang-yi that the person he was looking for should be in there. He then took off his soldier's mask, but the little girl surprised him by removing her own uniform, saying that her own mission was now complete. Zhang-yi turned to her, confused about her true intentions. She then slammed the door shut, trapping him all alone inside. Outside, a soldier handed her a large packet as her reward. She took it, then spoke to Zhang-yi with her thoughts, telling him she had forgotten to mention that betrayal is common in Moonlight City. Trapped all alone inside, Zhang-yi quickly realized that the little girl was sent by the Gods Guild, just as he had previously suspected. He decided he needed to see for himself why they had gone to such great lengths to lure him in there. He threw his helmet to the ground and continued on down the corridor. Suddenly, he noticed pink flames burning on the walls, and a group of people who were all sitting on the floor. One of them, a truly massive guy, declared that he could easily take care of Zhang, and that it was a waste for the boss to summon them all. Another man with glowing green eyes yelled at the giant, telling him that the boss must have had his reasons. If he thought that he could handle Zhang, then he should go ahead. The huge guy grinned and accepted the challenge, boasting that he would show them all how he would crush Zhang. He stomped his foot, grabbed his weapon, and hurled it at Zhang, shouting for him to try and catch his powerful axe. As the deadly weapon approached, Zhang simply paused, sensing the immense strength behind the attack. He stretched out his palm and used his calling of 100 crows spell. Instantly, countless crows appeared in the sky, flying in all directions. Zhang realized that after using this powerful spell, the number of his crows will have doubled. Moments later, there was a very loud thud. The huge guy grabbed his weapon once again and leaped towards Zhang, scoffing that a silly crow trick would not be able to defeat him. He then swung his massive axe at Zhang. But Zhang calmly drew his powerful sword, stomped it on the ground, and created an ice wall in front of him. The huge guy, completely shocked, cursed, and then slipped on the icy floor. His head spun, and Zhang mocked him, saying that big people are all bad at their balance. The giant then yelled at Zhong Yi, accusing him of playing a very dirty trick. The man with the glowing green eyes turned to a long-haired guy and said that their boss had been right. They would all have to step in. The long-haired guy replied that he really didn't know what Jiang Yi was trying to prove. Without any warning, the long-haired guy rushed at Jiang Yi, wrapping a long bandage all around his body. Jiang Yi, caught off guard and not expecting the sudden attack, suddenly found himself trapped as a spiked bone barrier rose up, closing in on him. A panic then set in as he realized he couldn't even move. He was just about to collide with it. As Zhong Yi realized that he was about to die from the spiked bone barrier, he immediately called out his black dragon's name. Suddenly, a powerful green energy began to surround the area, and Blackie emerged from it. The long-haired guy was very surprised, wondering how a normal, everyday beast tamer could have such a powerful grade 1 dragon. Blackie began to spread a bright, searing flame everywhere with a mighty roar, and the long-haired guy realized that they had underestimated Zhong Yi. Zhong Yi freed himself from the tight bandage and struck the long-haired guy hard with his sword, throwing him down to the ground. He flexed that they had not underestimated him at all, and that he was just far too strong for them. Zhang Yi patted Blackie's head, saying that he hadn't seen it in a while, but it had still managed to level up to a grade 1. The long-haired guy asked the huge guy what they should all do, because their intel did not mention Zhang Yi's grade 1 Dragon Emperor. The huge guy replied that they now had no choice but to take a big risk. After that conversation, the huge guy rushed toward Zhong Yi and Blackie with all of his people, holding a weapon in his hand and shouting for Zhong Yi to die. Zhong Yi swung his powerful magic sword, creating a massive flame energy around it, and struck out at them, demanding that they all kneel down before him. As Zhong Yi and Blackie hit them all with powerful flames, they all fell hard to the unforgiving ground. As they all collapsed onto the now frozen floor, their mysterious boss approached the huge guy, calling him by his name and saying that it was enough. He then ordered him to immediately stand down. Yuan argued with him, saying that he just needed some more time. The boss interrupted Yuan mid-sentence and glared hard at him, saying that he had told him to stand down, and that he would be the one to die if he continued this fight. They all then got up, and the huge guy, Yuan, told Zhang Yi that their battle was not yet over, and that the next time, the true victor would be decided. Zhang Yi replied that if they were not all afraid of dying, then he would gladly play along with them next time. The boss approached Zhang Yi, saying that they had finally met at last. He asked him if it was not Zhang Yi's first time in the apocalypse. Zhang Yi wondered who he was and how he knew so much about it. Zhang Yi then replied to the boss that he had absolutely no idea what he was talking about. The boss told Zhang Yi that he didn't have to act in front of him, and that he had known about all of this ever since Zhong Yi had entered the Hidden Dragon's Crown's grave to take the magical beast egg. Zhong Yi said he didn't want to waste his breath on it, and he demanded to know where Mu Chun was and to bring him there. The boss asked why Zhong Yi was in such a big hurry, and he informed him that he had brought him there because he wanted to work together with him, and if Zhong Yi would just agree, then only they would be able to uncover the secret of regression. He offered that he would give him all the best equipment and an unlimited amount of wealth in the apocalypse. The boss then issued a warning to Zhong, summoning his huge, terrifying monsters from behind him, saying that if he were to refuse his offer, he would not be able to walk out of there alive. Zhong immediately rejected the vile offer, thinking that the promise of all that equipment and riches came from oppressing the innocent and the poor. As Zhang Yi firmly refused, the boss's two monsters rushed directly toward him with a mighty roar. Zhang Yi realized that he had just used his immortality, and it was now on cooldown. Not knowing their full strength just yet, he hastily attacked them, but the situation was disadvantageous for him. He gripped the powerful teleportation device in his hand, feeling grateful that he had luckily set the coordinates. Back in the City of Dawn, Zhang Yi teleported and then vanished, dissolving into 1,000,000 pixels. The boss let out a sigh, thinking that he would let him go just this one time. But that next time, he would not be so very lucky. He then turned around and looked down at Mu Chun, who was sitting defeatedly on the hard floor. The boss said to Mu Chun that Zhang Yi must want to take his life, because there must be some sort of bad blood between the two of them. The boss then turned his back, asking Mu Chun if he really thought that Zhang Yi would just let him go. Mu Chun yelled out in a panic, saying that Zhang Yi was going to kill him. The boss then kneeled down in front of Mu Chun, telling him that he just had to go and kill Zhang Yi before Zhang Yi had the chance to kill him. He stood, looking down condescendingly at Muchan, reassuring him not to worry about a thing, and that he would help him in his quest to kill Zhang Yi. The boss thought that everyone must obey him in the apocalypse. But since Zhang Yi had openly rejected him, all that now awaited Zhang Yi was his own certain death. Zhang Yi teleported away to another new location. His mind was racing. He had narrowly escaped the dragon's breath. If he had been even just a single second too late, he would have surely been toast by now. The boss's grade 2 dragon emperors seemed like a real pain to deal with, and Jiang Yi couldn't help but wonder who this mysterious boss was, and how he knew that he was a powerful regressor. He started to suspect that the boss might be the same as him. Just then, the little system fairy suddenly popped up, telling Jiang Yi that his fatigue was at its absolute limit, and urging him to rest up at a nearby designated rest point. Jiang Yi realized he was drained from his trip to Moonlight City. He knew he needed to rest at the inn, or Hanyaru would start to worry if he did not return soon. Upon entering the inn, the receptionist informed him that he had selected the Premium Express Recovery Service, which would cost him a total of 20 gold coins. Zhang Yi overheard some people nearby talking about it. One person was shocked that he was spending money to recover his fatigue. Another person commented that they were all just sitting around, recovering very slowly. And someone else said that 20 gold coins could buy them a whole brand new set of equipment. Zhang Yi then checked his current balance, and he saw that he still had 30,000 gold coins left. He decided that he would need to upgrade all of his equipment soon. Meanwhile, Hanyaru sat right next to Yao, wondering where in the world Zhang Yi was. Yao, looking very worried, commented that their powerful leader might be in some danger. Suddenly, Zhang Yi walked up from behind them and reassured them that he was perfectly fine with his powerful abilities. He said that he still had a lot of energy left after taking on an entire powerful guild all by himself. Hanyaru and Yao both breathed a huge sigh of relief when they saw it. Zhang Yi awkwardly smiled down at Hanyaru, telling her that he hadn't found any information on the Ring of Death just yet, but he was determined to get it back for her. Hanyaru smiled back at him, saying that it was completely okay. She said she just lost it because she wasn't being alert enough, and that she was just happy that he had returned back safely. Yao then asked Zhang Yi if he had seen Xinglong any intelligence they could find, since the purple-haired phantom had infiltrated the City of Dawn. She was bound to have left some faint trace of her presence behind. Just then, Qinglong approached them with a grave expression. Jiang Yi met his gaze, demanding, "What have you discovered?" Qinglong reported that he had unearthed a crucial piece of information. The very ring stolen from Hanyaru was being put up for auction this night. Zhang Yi's mind instantly flashed with the faces of Muchan, the shadowy boss, and the treacherous little girl. If that legendary ring was indeed being auctioned, it meant the elusive thief would be present there as well. A cunning plan began to form in Zhang Yi's mind. This could also be a golden opportunity to acquire some top-tier equipment. After all, the daunting challenges that lay ahead would not be easy. The entire team agreed to head to the auction immediately. At the grand venue, the host announced that the legendary monthly auction was about to commence. She was showcasing rare pets, high-quality equipment, and invaluable tools. Hanyaru turned to Zhang Yi and asked if he wasn't coming inside with them. Zhang Yi told her to proceed on ahead without him, as he had some important business to take care of first. He stepped aside, his mind racing back to a hidden menu in a secret shop that he recalled from his previous life. It sold magnificent items, but was not at all well known. Zhang Yi found the shop, and the old shopkeeper asked what he was looking for. Zhang Yi began to consider the perilous situation. Dealing with a simple ring thief was not too difficult, but there were a lot of prying eyes inside the auction house. If he were to make any big, overt moves, he might attract a great deal of unwanted attention. He decided it was best to prepare some special items in advance. He asked the old shopkeeper for some simple pancakes and fruits, paying the full price. The shopkeeper then granted him access to the hidden menu and asked what he now wanted to purchase. The system congratulated Zhang Yi for unlocking the legendary hidden menu, and it showed that he had over 1,000 gold coins. He then picked up a mysterious green potion. Zhang Yi remembered that only 5% of the Apocalypse players had ever unlocked the hidden menu, and while these potions were expensive, they were far more powerful than any ordinary ones. Zhang Yi made the decision to buy them all up. The old shopkeeper praised his excellent choice, saying he was the very first customer to discover this special stock. Zhang Yi checked his inventory and felt a sharp pang of regret. He had just spent a staggering 4,000 gold coins in just an instant. Still, he hoped that his dangerous mission would succeed this time. Zhang Yi entered the auction house and wondered why it was so quiet. Had he gotten the wrong venue by mistake? The host announced that the starting bid for a worthless sheepskin scroll was 100 gold coins and asked if anyone wanted to buy it. The audience groaned loudly, impatient for something far more valuable. Zhang Yi approached Han Yiru and asked if the legendary Ring of Death was being auctioned. Haniru told him that it had not come up just yet, as they were currently auctioning off the sheepskin scroll of some unknown, mysterious origin. The host, looking quite disappointed, announced that since nobody wanted the sheepskin scroll, she would just withdraw it. Zhang Yi recalled that the sheepskin scroll contained the legendary dragon race's hidden mission. In his past life, all the big clans and guilds had gone crazy trying to get their hands on it. He raised his hand high and bid a total of 100 gold coins. The entire audience erupted in laughter at him, calling him a completely clueless rich guy for spending that much on something they all considered worthless. Someone commented that even if it had been free, they would not have taken it. The host handed the scroll to Zhang Yi. He knew that, for all of the others, the sheepskin scroll was no different than a piece of toilet paper. But for all the players in the dragon faction, just like him, it was a priceless treasure. Once he completed the hidden quest, he would get his hands on some exclusive dragon equipment, and everyone in here would be incredibly jealous. The host then announced that the next item up was the Ring of Death, a legendary grade item with a starting bid of 10,000 gold coins. The audience murmured to each other excitedly, wondering who could have brought such an expensive item. Henyera whispered something to Zhang and gestured toward a suspicious-looking man with large fangs, saying that he looked extremely shady. Zhang agreed, noting that with that kind of an appearance, the Fang guy must have been from Frost Peak City, the main city of the powerful Beast faction. He then wondered, why was a Beast faction member in the human faction's main city? And he was even with C2 Yen. Henyera praised Zhang, saying that he seemed to know everything. Zhang Yi chuckled and ruffled her hair, saying he just happened to have read up on the Beast faction when he was choosing his own personal faction. The Fang guy then stood up, drawing everyone's full attention, and he announced that he was claiming the legendary Ring of Death. He warned everyone not to bother bidding, because he would double any offer. Some of the people in the audience wondered what was so special about the ring, while the others realized they had no chance of outbidding the very rich. Fang guy, a man then stepped bravely forward, calling the Fang guy a bastard from the vile Beast faction, and demanding to know what gave him the right to cause so much trouble in the human faction's main city. The Fang guy then punched him hard, asking if he was qualified to do so now. Another man suggested that the first man should leave quickly, as the Fang guy was not someone they could afford to offend. At that very moment, Zhang Yi placed his hand on the man's shoulder, glared at the Fang guy, and declared that as long as he was here, he could surely forget about ever taking that powerful ring. The Fang guy was young Master Shua. C2 Yin informed Shua that Zhang Yi was the one he had mentioned earlier, and that he had some sort of divine talent. Shua glared at Zhang Yi with pure, unbridled rage, declaring that, since he had dared to provoke the Frost Peak City blood set, death was the only thing that now awaited him, no matter what his divine talent might be. Zhang Yi whispered to Qing Long and Feng Duan, asking them to go and create a massive disturbance, to buy him some time and to make things as chaotic as possible. Qing Long and Feng Duan agreed without a moment's hesitation, saying that they were absolute experts at causing trouble. The two of them approached the audience, and Feng Duan shouted, asking everyone if this was not the human race's own territory. Why were they all letting the beast race run wild in here? Qing Long added, agreeing with Feng Duan, that if word of this spreads, they would all be too embarrassed to show their faces in the City of Dawn. The crowd began to stir, murmuring that if they didn't do something, they would be the ones getting beaten up next. They challenged the members of the Beast race to a fight. Qing Long eyed the Beast race members who were in fur coats, and remarked that they had been annoying him right from the very start. He then asked them if they were not worried about getting rashes from wearing their fur coats in such intense heat. Feng Duan, shouting loudly from behind, said that there was no need to try and reason with people like them. They should all just attack. A full-blown battle then erupted, with everyone fighting like it was the end of the entire world. One man from the Beast race grabbed Qing Long and yelled at, after so many long years in this business. This was the very first time he had seen people courting their own death. Zhang Yi grabbed his advanced invisibility potion, opened the lid, and quickly drank all of it, Instantly, he became invisible and undetectable for 3 whole minutes. He followed it up with an advanced mist potion, creating a thick, dense fog at a target location that could not be dispersed for 3 long minutes. As the intense battle raged on, Zhang Yi grabbed an advanced burning potion, hurled it at the members of the beast race, and the potion exploded in a massive ball of flames, drawing loud shouts and curses from the members of the beast race. The host stood there with her nervous assistant, who held a silver tray containing the legendary Ring of Death. Zhang Yi, who was still completely invisible, moved toward her, eyeing the powerful ring. He thought to himself that no one would take it today except for him. He then picked it up and slipped it directly onto his finger. Moving from behind Shuai, Zhang Yi swung his powerful fist, thinking that the arrogant Shuai was now the one who was getting hit. He struck Zhu hard on the head from behind, knocking him straight to the unforgiving ground. Situ Yin rushed quickly to Zhu's side, asking him if he was okay. Zhu yelled out into the air, demanding that the idiot who dared to hit him reveal themselves. Zhu yelled out into the open air, demanding the idiot who dared to hit him reveal himself. He then placed his foot on Situyen's chest to keep him from getting up. Situyen shouted, asking who had just ambushed him, since they could not see Zhang Yi due to his powerful invisibility. Zhu swore that whoever kept on attacking him would surely die. The system bar then informed Zhang Yi that the invisibility potion was about to wear off in just 10 seconds. Realizing that his time was quickly running out, Zhang Yi decided to deal with Shuai and Shi Tujian at a later time. He then activated his powerful golden flash skill, doubling his speed for 20 seconds and immediately escaped, leaving Qing, Long, and Feng Duan to continue stepping on Shuai and Shi Tujian, along with all of the others. Zhu yelled at them all in pure anger, asking if they were all blind and demanding they stop stepping on him. Situ Yen, with tears welling up in his eyes, cried out that he was from the human race and that they were all attacking the wrong person. Once the powerful invisibility potion had finally expired, Zhang Yi sent a quick message in the group chat, informing everyone that the dangerous mission was now accomplished, and he told them all to retreat immediately and to meet him in the small alley in front of the auction house. Feng Duan and Yu replied, agreeing to meet him there a little later. Jiang Yi stood waiting in the small alley in front of the auction house. As his companions finally approached him, Hanyaru asked him if he was okay, mentioning how worried she was when he had suddenly vanished. Zhang Yi showed her the powerful ring in his palm, saying that he had obtained it. But he explained that in order to protect all of the auction items, the system had implemented a powerful seal. He told them that if an item is privately removed from the auction, it will return to the owner's inventory in just 3 minutes. They wondered if all of their efforts had been wasted, but Zhang Yi quickly reassured them, saying that he would use the seal to track the elusive thief, and he would follow the item to the consignor's secret location. He then set the teleportation point to a beacon, and the system announced that the teleportation point had been successfully set. Hanyaru exclaimed with a great deal of excitement, impressed by Zhang Yi's incredible cleverness, while Yao complimented him as well, saying that she knew she hadn't followed the wrong person. Zhang Yi turned his head to Hanyaru, assuring her that he would bring her ring back. As the 3 minutes were now nearly up, Zhang Yi was teleported away to the beacon. He thought to himself that today he would unmask the thief for sure. Meanwhile, the powerful ring suddenly appeared on Dai Wu's hand. The system informed her that the Ring of Death had finally returned, due to a major incident at the recent auction house. She wondered why in the world the ring had returned, and whether or not Zhang Yi's group was now catching up to her. Just then, the powerful ring began to glow, and Zhang immediately appeared right in front of her. As the teleportation sequence finally completed, he glared at her, stating that he knew that it had been her. He accused her of not only stealing Hanaru's precious ring, but also of luring him into the Gods Guild's deadly trap. He demanded to know what her devious plan was. Dai Wu smirked, admitting she never thought he would escape the Gods Guild, but she acknowledged that he was somewhat capable after all. Without any warning, she turned around and began to run. Zhang Yi chased after her, demanding that she stop and hand over the ring. He declared that she would explain herself to him today. Dai Wu mocked him, saying that he could only catch her in his dreams. Zhang Yi grabbed her hoodie, but she slipped right out of it. He growled, saying he wouldn't let her escape so easily this time. They shared a tense moment of silence before suddenly a huge, powerful axe flew right toward them, crashing hard through the solid stones. It was Shuai, who shouted out loudly at Daiwu, asking her why she had stopped when she was so good at running. Shu's eyes widened as he let out a smirk. Upon seeing Jang eat together with Daiwu, he suddenly realized something, that the Beast faction possessed a powerful prey-tracking skill, allowing them to track a target's scent over 1,000 long miles. Shual laughed menacingly, saying he hadn't wasted his time chasing her, but now he was glad to find them both working together. He declared that he would deal with both of them at the same time. Hearing this, Zhang Yi and Dai Wu started running for their lives. Zhang Yi asked her just how many people she had offended and why. Did both the aliens and the Beast factions have a grudge against her? She replied that it was all just a big misunderstanding. Then, she clung to his waist and called him brother with big tears in her eyes and begged him not to leave her all alone behind. Annoyed, Zhang Yi asked her when he had become her brother. He reminded her that she didn't see him as a brother when she ambushed him. Shu charged toward them with his massive axe, yelling that they dared to flirt right in front of him, and he declared that they could now die together. Shu made a sharp jerk with his powerful axe, causing the surroundings to light up with a bright orange glow. A massive, giant beast then appeared right behind him. Jiang Yi recalled that the girl had just called him her brother earlier, but she had vanished the moment that any real danger appeared. Shu attacked Jiang Yi, yelling that he would show him what happens when someone dares to challenge him. The system then announced that player. Zhong Yi had been hit by the powerful beast skin charge, detecting his 800 horsepower loss. Zhong Yi fell to the ground, clutching his stomach in agonizing pain. He realized that Shu's attack was extremely high, causing him to lose a significant amount of health in just a single hit. Zhang Yi leaped onto the edge of the rooftop and glared down at Shuai, who still stood there with a massive axe in his hand. Shuai yelled at Zhang Yi to hand over the girl. He told him to kneel and apologize, so he would consider sparing his life. He then accused them, claiming that he had seen Zhang Yi and the girl passionately embracing each other just moments before. Zhang Yi looked at Shuai in utter shock and confusion, demanding to know when he had supposedly seen them acting so intimately. He warned Shu to stop speaking such nonsense, or else he would sue him. Shu argued right back, yelling that he had clearly seen what the two of them were doing just a few moments ago. He recalled the strange scene in front of Zhang, where Zhang Yi and the girl were sitting on the edge of the rooftop, and Zhang Yi was touching the girl's chin. He recognized the familiar scent that was coming from the girl, and he wondered if she was the one who had escaped from him. He cursed out loud under his breath, thinking that they were acting all intimate in such a place like that. After all of his accusations, Shuai let out a scoff, saying that if he had not shown up when he did, who knows what Zhang Yi and the girl would have been doing next. Zhang Yi sneered at Shuai, sarcastically saying, "Hats off to you, because your trolling is truly on the next level." Zhang Yi changed his attribute and struck Shuai hard with his sword, asking if he was some sort of a hopeless romantic in disguise. The system announced that player Wuhan Zhuai had suffered some burn damage. Detecting 300 horsepower, Zhu smirked at Zhang Yi, declaring that it was just a simple flesh wound, and that he could take this hit as a generous gift from it. Zhu then threw some blue energy directly at Zhang, stating that he would now show him the disparity between their power. As Shu approached him, his eyes suddenly lit up with a glowing energy. Out of nowhere, a burning yellow energy began to surround Zhang Yi. He wondered what was happening, because he was using the same skill, yet the damage he took just kept on increasing. Shu laughed, saying that he had forgotten to mention that the lower his HP, the higher his total damage output would be. Cheng Wei immediately drank an advanced HP potion. The system reported that Zhang Yi had regained several hundred points. Zhu glared at Zhang Yi with pure rage and attempted to strike him, but he missed. Zhang Yi straightened up and crossed his arms, taunting Shuai and asking him why he had stopped attacking him. Then Zhang Yi smirked, saying that since he was more generous than Shuai, he would take 1,000 damage upon himself. Shu gripped his axe very tightly, shouting that it was impossible and that he had almost just died. The girl observed the current situation and warned Zhang Yi that no matter how many potions he had, they would all be useless if Shuai used that powerful move again. Shuai glared at Zhang Yi, saying that having an advanced HP potion would not save him, and that the real battle had only just begun now. He then activated his bloodthirsty frenzy power, and bright pink rays of light began to surround him, making him look even more terrifying, while he gained several hundred HP. Zhang Yi was shocked and asked, Why is Shu's HP now increasing? Zhong, he stepped back from him and grabbed a green potion. He realized that he had never expected Zhuai to have an epic talent that would allow him to recover HP by just dealing damage. Zhu slowly approached Zhong, gripping his now glowing pink axe. He told Zhong, "Eat that today." He would teach him the dire consequences of offending the blood set. Zhong, he stood calmly on the edge of the rooftop, looking down at Zhuai and taunting him, saying that relying on mere potions to fight a battle of attrition is completely useless. He then challenged Zhuai, asking him if he really thought his bloodthirsty frenzy was unbeatable. Zhang, he now faced an opponent who could absorb all of his health, but he had a very clever trick up his sleeve. Instead of trying to avoid taking any damage, he purposely took a massive hit and drank a powerful poison potion. His enemy, thinking he was now gaining the upper hand, absorbed the now poisoned HP instead of healing. Realizing his mistake far too late, the opponent started losing 200 horsepower every second for a full minute. Chang'e mocked him, offering to give him even more poison. Trapped by his very own powerful ability, the enemy regretted ever falling for this clever trick. He realized that Zhang, he had planned this out all along. Afterward, Zhang, he found himself where his health was now dangerously low, but he had a plan. He activated his immortality ability, which would allow him to survive just long enough for the deadly poison to finish off his opponent. His enemy, who was desperate to try and recover, realized that his health was now dropping faster than he could ever heal. Zheng Yi then offered to sell him an advanced HP potion. The enemy was furious after realizing he had overpaid. But before he could even react, the poison took its full effect, paralyzing him completely. Afterwards, Dai Wu attacked him, ready to finally end the long fight. Player Dai Wu had defeated player Wu Hongshui, but he came back to life in the faraway Frost Peak City because he had one remaining revival chance. Angry about losing this fight, he promised to get his revenge. Zhang Yi insisted that he had no connection to the girl, but he knew that no one at all would believe him. His deadly poison began to disappear just as she returned. He asked her why she had come back to him. He thought that she had run away, but she denied, saying she had stayed because their enemies had come to kill her. Someone was watching from behind, commenting on how lucky Zhang Yi was to have such a beautiful companion. Meanwhile, the enemies panicked that their so-called strongest leader was now dead. One of them, realizing he had backed the wrong side, tried his best to escape, but Zhang Yi stopped him. He said that they still had not yet settled their score. Zhong Yi demanded to know why the Beast faction was in the City of Dawn. Yin Situ began to tremble and revealed that they were after Dai Wu to retrieve a special card. Moreover, Zhong Yi wondered what kind of a card was so valuable that they would chase her this far. Afterwards, Dai Wu casually pulled out the mysterious card, saying she got it after she assassinated someone in Frost Peak City, and that to her, it was just a shiny object with no real use. But Zhong Yi immediately recognized that it was a divine talent card. Moreover, he realized that every player can only have one single talent, which might explain why she has not been able to activate. She did not seem to know of its true, immense value. Then, it clicked for him that she had gotten the card by killing someone, which meant that the rumors he had heard were all true. Divine talent cards can be obtained by eliminating their previous owners. Zhang Yi learned that divine talents can be transferred to other players, but only by killing the player's previous rightful owner. Moreover, Yin Situ begged for his own life, insisting that he had shared everything that he knew. However, Zhang Yi refused to let him go, since he had now seen the card. Moreover, he then eliminated Yin Situ, ensuring that the precious secret would die along with him. Then, Dai Wu asked Zhang Yi if he was not afraid that she would kill him, to which he responded that she was very smart, and that the blood sect was now after the both of them. Moreover, keeping Zhang Yi alive could help her divert their firepower. Zhang Yi was curious about the divine talent hidden within her card, wondering just how powerful it could possibly be. Moreover, he then offered her a brand new deal. If she would hand over the Ring of Death along with the card, they could then settle things peacefully between them afterwards. She wondered why he was so desperate for the powerful ring, suspecting that it had once belonged to someone very important to him. Jiang, he confirmed his solemn promise to return it to her afterwards. Dai Wu gave up the ring, but she insisted on keeping the Divine Talent card all for herself. Jiang Yi's new trade partner then gave him a stern warning, advising him to keep the golden card a complete secret, and at the same time, he was urged to leave the area quickly. The powerful blood sect would not let this matter just slide, and they would soon come to the city seeking their revenge. Moreover, Zhong Yi remained completely confident. He was not at all afraid. He believed that even their strongest member would not be able to defeat him. Meanwhile, the Beast faction proved to be truly fierce fighters, not only very tough, but also incredibly deceitful. They had ambushed their enemies while their guild leader was away. Yara wondered over what might be happening on their guild leader's side. Suddenly, a warning was shouted that Yaru was in immediate danger. But before the enemy could possibly attack her, Zhong Yi stepped in and heroically saved Yaru. Moreover, he informed them that their boss had already been sent back to Frost Peak City, and soon they would all be joining him. The guild leader arrived, and his team welcomed him with great concern. Jiang Yi reassured them all that he was completely unharmed, though getting away from the Beast faction had been very tough. Afterwards, Jiang Yi returned the powerful ring back to Yaru, keeping his solemn promise. She had always believed that he would succeed. With so many players now reaching level 50, they all needed to train much harder just to keep up. Everyone was very eager to move on forward. One of his teammates then flexed that he would soon be strong enough to defeat all the monsters with just a single strike. However, great fortune often brings with it even greater danger. Now that Zhang Yi knew the truth about the divine talents, both he and Yarohan were now at a very great risk. If any others were to discover this powerful secret, they would all become immediate targets. He was determined to grow stronger. Before that ever happened, Zhang Yi finally reached level 50 and unlocked a brand new mission to advance his powerful class. His stats now showed that he was a beast tamer from the dragon race and gifted with a very rare ability. What's yours is mine. However, he now had no extra lives left, making every single battle a massive risk. After spending so much time dealing with the vile blood sect, he had finally caught up with all of the top players. Standing in the busy streets of the City of Dawn, his team now looked to him for some much-needed guidance. They had all now reached the highest level for the time being. And what was their very next step? Zhang Yi responded that to grow even stronger than they were, the team must now raise their personal level cap. The only way to do this was by completing their second class change. Level 50 was not enough for Zhang Yi to get his revenge, and Han Yero and the others needed to improve their skills as well. Outside the massive job change hall, players who were attempting the class change test were being knocked down one after another because the challenge was just far too difficult and the requirement of 20,000 points seemed almost impossible to achieve. Frustrated players complained about wasting their gold on the test fee, only to be defeated once again. Moreover, some of them regretted spending their money just to get beaten up. In the City of Dawn's trial grounds, a large group of players gathered, watching the ongoing challenge. A very confident girl stood there, asking if anyone else dared to face her afterwards. Zhang Yi then stepped forward, determined to take on the difficult test, and he also reminded her that in the world of apocalypse, raw stats alone do not ever guarantee your victory. Your skill and your strategy matter just as much as power. Moreover, the true key is knowing how to use all of your abilities effectively. Above all of them, a small machine began to float, tracking their every single move. The second job change mission required that all players be at level 50. The challenge was a solo trial, with an entry fee of 100 gold. To pass the test, they must fight the trial's instructor, earning points by dodging their attacks or by landing their own hits. Reaching 20,000 points within 10 minutes was their final goal. Moreover, a success would unlock the ability to level up all the way to 70, and it grants the player new, class-specific powerful skills. The small machine above them would calculate their every single action, determining whether they would ultimately pass or fail. The final trial then began, and Zhong Yi made his first move. Instead of just rushing in, he cleverly avoided any close combat, knowing that it was a risky strategy against a fighter with such impressive speed. He kept his distance and unleashed a very powerful attack, Chain Lightning, and he reminded her to have a taste of his electricity. Afterwards, the system registered his every action. Dodging an attack had earned him a total of 1,000 points, and landing a successful skill attack gave him yet another 1,000. His score jumped up to 2,000 in just an instant. The onlookers were all completely shocked. because they did not expect him to gain his points so quickly. Some who had doubted his abilities now saw his skill in true action. Diwoo realized that she had greatly underestimated her opponent, and she decided to step up her own game as well. Afterwards, she swung her powerful weapon, the legendary Void War Hammer, only for it to disappear into thin air. A wave of confusion spread, as no one could tell where the Warhammer went. The powerful Void War Hammer then struck, causing a massive loss of 2,000 of his points. The trial instructor proved to be a very tough opponent, making the challenge even harder than before. The guild members all watched on with deep concern, unsure if their powerful leader would be able to pass. However, Yaru remained completely confident, knowing that Zhang Yi always finds a way to succeed, no matter how difficult the current situation might be. Determined to win, Zhang Yi avoided giving her any more chances for attacks. In his past life, he had failed this challenge over 200 times, but all of those attempts had given him the battle knowledge that he needed now. Using his powerful beast tamer ability, Shared Vision, he saw through the eyes of all his summoned creatures. With their help, he dodged all of her attacks and gained more points. Yu then became very suspicious and realized something was helping him to predict her every move. Moreover, she noticed the summoned crows and quickly changed up her own strategy, preventing him from earning any more points by simply dodging. Realizing he must now finish the fight, and quickly, Zhang Yi made his very final move in the match. The system announced his hard-won victory, that he had now completed the second job. Change quest. Now, as an advanced beast tamer, he was much stronger than he had ever been before. The guild members cheered for him, amazed by his incredible 22,000-point score. Meanwhile, in the faraway Moonlight City, a powerful enemy prepared to attack, with the best gear in the entire game. She saw this as the perfect moment to take down Zhang Yi. Muchen was not being sent in alone. He received some powerful support from experienced fighters, who had all battled with Zhang Yi before this. With their new equipment and their recent level-ups, they were all expected to succeed in this difficult mission. They would all now follow Mu Chen's direct lead. They all confirmed their given orders, determined to complete the important task ahead of them. Before leaving, he received a very special scroll, usable only once in cases of dire emergencies. With everything now set, they began their long journey to the City of Dawn. Mu Chen was determined to make Zhang Yi regret ever becoming his enemy. Meanwhile, back in the City of Dawn, Zhang Yi and his team were enjoying a nice barbecue. Moreover, Zhang Yi agreed that it was the best he had ever had in Apocalypse. The conversation then shifted to their training. Is to complete the trial swiftly and catch up to Zhang Yi's power. A hushed voice cut through the air, inquiring about the legendary new abilities from his second job advancement, to which Zhang Yi agreed, promising to demonstrate his might during their next dungeon run. Later, in a moment of quiet focus, Zhang Yi reviewed his newly acquired skills, eager to master their devastating potential. One ability stood out. It was called Demon Substitution, a power allowing him to escape any control effect, leaving behind a spectral decoy that would spread terror among his enemies the moment it was attacked, with a cooldown of just 30 minutes. This incredible new skill would become a vital tool in the battles to come. But peace is a fleeting dream. Zhang Yi's enemies had finally found it, and among them were formidable players from the infamous Divine Guild, now fighting alongside the traitorous Mu Chen. Zhang Yi's mind reeled, wondering how they ended up in such an unholy alliance. Afterwards, the traitorous Mu Chen arrogantly stepped forward. He questioned why Mu Chen was squandering her final precious moments, instead of using them to repent for her sins. To which Mu Chen retorted that he had escaped by sheer luck last time, but that fortune would not smile upon him again. Ignoring the empty threat, Mu Chen took absolute command, instructing her group that 4 of them would handle all the others, while she would deal with the meddlesome Zhang Yi personally. A swordsman, brimming with arrogance, confidently stepped forward, eager to test his own strength against our hero. He moved with the speed of a striking viper, launching the first attack of the brutal melee. Despite his quick attacks, Mu Chen reacted with an even greater celerity, instantly seizing control of the unfolding battle. Meanwhile, Xiao Yao suddenly found herself in a perilous situation. As she screamed for help, someone warned her of a deadly ambush up ahead. Afterwards, Zhang Yi was ensnared by the dreaded Shadow Bind, a high-level ability designed to control one's opponent. A dark, spectral shadow materialized beneath his feet, paralyzing his movements for 10 agonizing seconds, and leaving him completely and utterly defenseless. Moreover, Zhang Yi's enemies began to surround him, reminding him that he was now completely alone, with the powerful shadow bind still in full effect. He could not move, making him a very easy target. His opponent was eager to see if he could still fight back. In a blinding flash, Demon Substitution activated and Zhang Yi vanished, leaving a spectral decoy standing in his place. Mu-chan realized, far too late, that he had fallen into a deadly trap. Before Mu-chan could even react, the chain lightning strike was activated. However, to Zhang Yi's complete and utter surprise, Mu-chan remained completely unharmed despite taking the direct hit. Moreover, he was wearing the best set of armor in all of Apocalypse, and he believed that no ordinary attack could ever harm him. He then prepared to unleash his most powerful ability, and activated the devastating Heavenly Star Purgatory. Jenny narrowly evaded the attack with Blackie's timely help, and launched a counterattack using the formidable wings of chaos, sending sharp wind blades hurtling toward Mu-chan. Moreover, Mu-chan was shocked to see that Zhang Yi now commanded a Grade 2 dragon Emperor, proving a great difference in their true strength. Afterwards, Zhang Yi declared that Mu-chan would always be beneath him. Frustrated, Mu-chan realized too late that Zhang Yi had completed his second job, advancement. Feeling desperate, he remembered the one time used scroll that might give him a chance to fight back. Mukin, unwilling to accept his own defeat, activated a special forbidden ability, challenging Zhang to show him his true, unbridled strength. He was confident that Carol's information had been accurate. He believed that he could even take down Zhang Yi's Grade 2 Dragon Emperor. He then threatened Zhang Yi, declaring that this would be his last day while holding Xiao Yao. He dared Yoru to try and rescue her from him. In response to this, Yoru attacked him with full force, to which he quickly called on his skeleton ally for some support. Afterwards, Yoru attacked them again with her powerful arrows, breaking down their spiked protective bone barrier. The opponents tried desperately to capture Xiao Yao, but Yaru rescued her from them just in the nick of time. On the other side of the battle, Feng Duan confidently claimed that he would finish this battle, but his opponent just laughed and struck at him first. However, Feng Duan skillfully used his swords to take down one enemy, leaving 3 of them still standing on the battlefield. Just when they thought that they were finally winning, the enemies revealed their true, sinister plan. Their actual main goal was always Zhang Yi. And suddenly, something went terribly wrong with him. His team realized, far too late, that this was all a setup, and that Zhang Yi was now in very serious danger. A loud voice interrupted them, demanding peace while trying to enjoy a meal. However, the intense fight still continued on. Zhang Yi was now being chased down, with his enemies determined not to ever let him escape. Afterwards, he commanded Blackie to stay away from the crowded areas, knowing the powerful attacks of a Grade 4 Dragon Emperor could cause some massive, widespread destruction. He realized that just dodging would not help him find a weakness. He decided that he needed to strike back at them. With his full confidence, he believed in Blackie and prepared for battle. Blackie was signaling the beginning of their epic counterattack. It was now time to settle all of their past conflicts, once and for all. Mu-chan was confused, wondering if they were overestimating their own skills, or were underestimating him. He thought that the Grade 4 Dragon, Emperor's Breath, was going to completely annihilate them all, and even if they had his powerful immortality, their magical beast was not going to survive the mighty dragon's breath. A notification then popped up that player Zhang Yi had just taken damage from a Grade 4 dragon, and the Emperor's Breath was at 50 horsepower. The Soul Link, a second-tier, Beast Tamer exclusive skill. Upon its activation, all of the damage taken by the magical beast is going to be transferred to the Beast Tamer for 60 seconds, and the cooldown time is 3 long hours, as long as Zhang Yi's immortality did not run out. Blackie was going to be completely invincible. He commanded Blackie to attack with its powerful right wing, as according to him, a dragon's wing is its weakest spot on its body, and once it is damaged, the dragon is going to lose all of its mobility, which is the best way to try and limit its attacks. The notification showed that the Grade 4 dragon had been damaged by Blackie's claw attack. Zhang Yi felt that the Grade 4 Dragon Emperor was very weird, as he had lost 500 horsepower from its powerful breath, but it had lost 15 HP from Blackie's powerful claw attack, which meant the damage from the Grade 9 Dragon Emperor was much lower than it usually was, and it was taking a lot more damage than normal. which seemed like an illusion because only illusions deal so little damage, while taking a lot more damage from any attacks. This made him think that it was not a real Grade 4 Dragon Emperor, but an illusion that had been created through contract summoning. The contract summoning utilizes a special contract with a high-level monster to summon its powerful illusion for any battle. And the stronger the summon monster is, the higher the price will be, and minor costs result in physical harm, while greater costs may result in one's own spirit being consumed. Muchin was confused as to what was happening with him, and in that case, the appearance of the minions from the Divine Guide and the mysterious scroll all made sense to them now, and he thought that Carol was using the idiot to deal with him. Jiang Yi questioned Muchin, but it seemed like he did not know the backlash of using the scroll. But he did not accept that, as he knew he would not lie to him. Muchin had gotten so much stronger by that point. He did not want it all to end like that. Jiang Yi asked him to look at his now frail body, which was the price that he had to pay for using contract summon. And it made him realize that he was just a pawn from the very beginning. Muchin threatened him that if he was going to die, he was going to drag all of them down with him, as he had now sacrificed all of his power to the great Dragon Emperor, and that madman was now prepared to fuse with the powerful illusion of the Dragon Emperor, and he decided to turn the entire city into a living hell. Everyone around them started to panic and shout to each other to run, as there was a madman who was trying to kill everyone. Jiang Yi was shocked, and he said to Muchin that, even though he was at death's door, he was still not repenting for his sins, and he blamed himself as he could not see his true nature before. Muchin questioned, what if Jiang Yi is a regressor? And he asked him if he was going to kill him if he had another chance. But that next time, Muchin would be the one who was going to kill him. Blackie then grabbed Jiang Yi, as he thought that Muchin was completely mad and had lost all his senses. And as long as Jiang Yi could just destroy the scroll, he could then sever the connection between the main body and the illusion, which was going to cause the powerful illusion to vanish. He wanted Blackie to cover him, and he attacked Muchin, but instead, Blackie was harmed while trying to save Jiang Yi. Yahello questioned Jiang Yi if he was alright, and she apologized, as they were late to reach him there. Jiang Yi then pointed out to her that Blackie had sustained critical injuries while trying to save him, and that he was now finding a way to try and heal him. Also, the person who had orchestrated all of that was going to pay for sure. Outside, in the City of Dawn, and in the tranquil, quiet forest, Jiang Yi ran very fast, as Yaru closely followed behind him. She wondered what he was doing so early in the morning in the forest. Jiang Yi kept on running toward his final goal, thinking about Blackie being so badly injured, and the extremely rare resurrection potion in the apocalypse that could heal any wound, no matter how serious it was. He muttered to himself that Blackie was already in a very weakened state, meaning that he had taken critical damage and was now on the brink of death. Normal, everyday healing potions were practically useless, and if he wanted to be able to save Blackie, he had to go and get that powerful potion. Jiang Yi thought about how he could not summon Blackie in his weakened state. He then abruptly came to a sudden stop, realizing that the resurrection potion could only be obtained by completing the potion production task with the famous apothecary, Leifia. He called out, saying that they had finally met once again. Leifia was crouching down, playing with a plant that was between her fingers. Just at that moment, he remembered the last time that he had collected everything she needed and had asked her for the resurrection potion before collapsing right on top of her. He recalled how Leifia had made the potion and had fed it to him. Leifia then turned around, sensing his presence, and asked him if he was looking for her. He urgently asked Leifia to give him the special mission for creating the powerful resurrection potion. Leifia, looking very confused, asked how he knew that she was researching the resurrection potion. He quickly replied that it was not at all important, and he asked for her diary so that he could go and save Blackie. Leifia showed him the diary and asked if this was what he was looking for. She continued to explain what it was, but he cut her off, completing her sentence for her and saying, I know, the diary contains hints on where to find the 3 rare materials, and that she can create the powerful resurrection potion if he brings them all to her. He then took the diary from her and told her that he already knew all of the dialogue. Leifia asked him how he had known what she was going to say, but Jiang Yi simply turned around and just thanked her. A notification then appeared, showing that his mission had now started, and the instructions told him exactly what to do next. He thought about how the first part of his mission was to get the essence of life from a formidable demon sealing tower. It looked like he would have to make another trip back there. Leifia warned him that these 3 items were very hard to obtain, and that if he were to go all alone, It might take at least half a month for him to return. Zhong Yi, with a very determined look on his face, told her that he would be back with all the items very soon. From behind one of the trees, Yaru watched the entire scene unfold. She wondered if Zhong Yi was doing all of this just to save Blackie, and she questioned how he knew about this secret method. Suddenly, with a very gloomy expression on her face, she thought about how Zhong Yi was always moving so far ahead, and how she also wanted to be able to help him out. With a new determination, she promised herself that she would find the other 2 items, and she then started to follow after him. The demon ceiling tower opened up as Zhong Yi rushed through the crowd, pushing many people aside. Someone then called out to him, but all he could think about was the promise he had made to Blackie. He vowed that he would definitely make the resurrection potion, and he would go and heal him. He slammed his hand hard against the door and ordered it to be opened, saying that he was in a big rush. The door opened with a loud bang as the demon warrior yelled, demanding to know which fool had dared to disturb him during his slumber. Zhong Yi tripped him, sending the warrior crashing hard to the ground. While in a big hurry, he demanded to know where the transfer gate to the next level was. The demon warrior, who was now completely furious, got back to his feet and charged directly toward Zhong as he suddenly recognized him from before. Zhang Yi thought that this was a perfect opportunity to use his new skill. As the warrior attempted to strike him down, his powerful weapon passed right through Zhang Yi. The warrior screamed out loud with pure anger, realizing that Zhang Yi was now using a powerful clone. Furious, the warrior shouted that Zhang Yi had no respect for him. But Zhong Yi then activated his powerful soul search, completely entrancing the powerful warrior. As the soul search finally completed, he extracted all of the information about the person behind the warrior. Zhong Yi wondered why he had memories from his own past life. Could it possibly be because they were all once real people? The demon warrior fainted as Zhong Yi moved on forward. He soon came across 2 gates, and he thought about how normally each level only has a blue transfer gate to advance to the next stage. But here, there were 2 gates with very different colors. He recalled that this scene had appeared in Xine's memory just now. Looking on ahead, he decided that he would like to see what lied behind the red gate. The transfer initiated as he entered into level 30. On the other side, a mysterious man who was wearing glasses smirked as he watched Zhong Yi on his large screen. He pressed a button and started to transform his character with a very sinister grin. He declared that Zhong Yi had finally arrived here, and it was now time for them all to play a little game. Zhong Yi made it to the demon ceiling tower's level 30, which was quite shocking for him, as he had never thought that the red door was going to transport him directly to level 30, which had saved him quite a few precious times. And then all he needed was to go and get the essence of life, which was located above the grand church. Suddenly, a 6-winged fallen angel, level 60, appeared and threatened Zhong Yi, that as he had challenged the 30th level, she was going to show him what absolute power looked like. Zhong Yi was quite shocked by seeing her use such a powerful attack right from the start. Only Bong lost all of his senses and tried to figure out where he was, as according to him, he was resting back on level 9. So where had he come from? He questioned Zhong Yi about what was going on there, and he tried to figure out that Zhong Yi was looking for some sort of serious trouble, as he was challenging that very place. Right after his second advancement and his class change, Zhong Yi wanted to know why the boss was a 6-winged fallen angel, as he felt that he was not strong enough to beat her, and he tried to figure out what he should now do, and why there were so many human remains there. According to Zhong Yi, the 6-winged fallen angel seemed ruthless to him. A notification popped up about the unknown human remains, the remains of humans who were killed by the 6-winged fallen angel. Somehow, Zhong Yi came up with a solution after looking at the skulls and bones, and he told them that it was time for them to take their revenge. A divine talent, the undead summoner, then started. Zhong Yi commanded his warriors to arise from the ground and surround it. The fallen angel tried to shake off the undead corpses that Zhong Yi had thrown at her as the undead kept trying to shove her down. She looked around and found out that Zhong Yi was running toward the ancient tower. She finally realized as she voiced out her thoughts, acknowledging that it was his plan to use the undead to block her, so he could go and steal the essence of life. With a very sharp motion, she raised her powerful hand, summoning a swirling storm of pure, raw electricity. The sky above began to darken as a low rumble echoed across the battlefield. Crackling energy then spiraled all around her, building up into a massive, deadly surge of power. With a single, powerful command, she unleashed her AoE spell, the legendary Lightning Domain. The magical storm then erupted, covering the entire area. Its chaotic energy would last for 10 whole minutes. Every 3 seconds, a violent surge of lightning would crash down, dealing 500 magic damage to all of the nearby enemies. With a blasting thunder, in just an instant, the entire undead horde burst into a cloud of ashes, their bodies completely vaporized by the sheer force of the powerful spell. The fallen angel then stepped forward, the corners of her lips curling up into a sinister smirk. With a slow and very deliberate motion, she crushed a nearby skull right beneath her heel, letting the fine dust scatter off in the wind. A flash then came directly toward Zhang as he began to panic. The fallen angel smirked as she declared that his little games were now over. Suddenly, a bright green light bloomed out of absolutely nowhere, slashing the fallen angel right through her stomach. She turned around and found Bei Huang running directly toward her. She panicked, thinking that it was completely impossible, and she wondered why there was another player on this level. On the other side, the man in the glasses narrowed his eyes, his fingers tightening hard around the edge of his desk. He watched the chaotic battle as it unfolded on the large screen, irritation flickering deep within his intense gaze. Alarms started going off, warning that the body had been damaged, and that the connection was now about to be completely lost. The man in the glasses thought about how the technology to control NPCs through data transfer was still very unstable. He finally gave up, saying that they had just gotten lucky today. He told Jing Yi that he would meet him again very soon. As the fallen angel collapsed and the connection was completely lost, his voice was low and laced with a deep frustration. He then leaned back in his comfortable chair, his fingers tapping nervously against the large console. He watched on as the weak connection finally weakened, the fallen angel's body flickering before it collapsed to the ground. The system then crashed, severing the powerful link. Ba Wang stood there, his grip tightening hard around his weapon. His expression was completely unreadable, his eyes locked firmly onto the spot where the fallen angel had just been. Zhang Yi acquired the potion and asked what Ba Wang was doing there, and how it was even possible if this was supposed to be a solo-only dungeon at the Tower of Eternity. The man in the glasses looked at the scene through his monitor screen as he ordered the Apocalypse spirit to replay the footage from the battle. She obeyed all of his orders. He keenly examined the details of the fight and suddenly asked her to zoom in on the bottom right-hand corner. As she zoomed in on the image, he found another person in a face mask who was helping Bao Wang. He let out a deep sigh and declared that there had been another troublemaker at the scene, at the Demon Ceiling Tower's main gate. The remaining time before the Demon Ceiling Tower closes was 3 hours. Qinglong was very worried, thinking about the guild leader who was planning to come out right before the main gate was scheduled to close. The time left was 3 hours. Ba Wang then thanked Zhang Yi for looking after little Ryu for the past few days, but he denied it, as there was no need to thank him. He only did what he thought that he was supposed to do, and that Yaru was going to be happy to see him again. Yaru was excited and very happy to see his young master back. Qinglong claimed that Little Miss had completely vanished since the morning, and she was also not replying to any of their messages. But Ba Huang knew that she had always been very cautious when doing things, so there must have been some sort of special reason for it. Genji wanted them to think very carefully, as if she had been acting strangely before she vanished. Jinglong told them that she had been at the plaza last night, as she was standing in the middle of the plaza, facing the large statue, as if she had been praying for something, and as her eyes had been closed. He had not wanted to bother her. Zhang Yi thought that Yaru must have been undergoing the praying mission, as he had once told her that praying was one of the casual missions in the Apocalypse, where players have to go to the main plaza at 9 p.m. and pray for a total of 3 hours straight. And by doing all of this, there was a chance to receive a reward from the god of all dreams, a dream stone. But the dream stone did not have much of a use. It was just a simple decoration. But if one were to water it with the dream spring water, which is found in the fabled dream spirit manor, one could then get a dream flower. And according to all of this, Zhong Yi figured out that Yaru must have gone to the dream spirit manor. Bao Wang wanted them all to hurry up and go there. At the Frost Peak City Dream Spirit Manor, Qinglong tried to send a message to Yaru, but he was unable to do so at all. He panicked as to what was going on. The Dream Spirit Manor is the domain of the dream god, Lament. He had set up a protective formation in order to resist the invasion of his enemies during the apocalypse, and many dangerous monsters now roamed free all within the manor. The very moment when the players stepped into the protective formation, they were going to lose the ability to message any of the other players, which was why Yaru was unable to send and receive her messages there. Jiang, he commanded them both not to split up when they entered, as if they were to do so, it was going to trouble them, as they could not communicate with each other. On the other hand, Dunshi told Yaru that they were all depending on her when they would have to fight the Dream Spirit later on, as she was the highest leveled and best equipped maid in their entire group, which was not a problem at all for her. But all she really wanted was that if they dropped the Dream Spring Water, he would have to keep his promise and give all of it to her. Lu Shu wanted her not to worry, as they only wanted the powerful dropped equipment, as they had absolutely no use for the Dream Spring Water. Hanyuro, along with Dronzer and Lu Shu, had arrived at the Dream Spirit Manor. Just at that moment, two dream spirits emerged from behind the dark bushes to attack them. Dronzer alerted them all as they got into their battle positions. The spirits came running directly toward them all. Dronzer then activated the Adamantine Fury, as a huge red fury erupted and caught both of the spirits in just one go. He yelled out that he had now stopped the spirits with his powerful skill, and he ordered Yaru to now do her part. Yaru raised her powerful wand up high, gripping it very tightly as the air around her started to shift. A cold, deadly energy gathered at her fingertips, sending powerful shivers all through the ground. Then the storm finally hit. A fierce blizzard had erupted, sending razor-sharp ice shards flying directly at the spirits. The spirits let out very painful, distorted screams as the deadly ice struck hard on their bodies. Dunche saw the scene and let out a loud wow, saying that a level 50 mage was really, truly powerful, and that it felt like he had a godly teammate on his side. Suddenly, a red hue surrounded the now unmoving spirits, catching Lu Shu's full attention. Just as they had thought it was over, she walked toward them and informed all of her teammates that a flower was now growing out of the dream spirit's corpse. She then raised her hand to go and touch the beautiful flower, but Yero quickly told her not to touch it. The very moment that Liu Shu's fingers brushed the flower, its petals began to twitch very violently. In just an instant, the single bloom then multiplied, spreading like a wildfire all across the entire battlefield. All three of them quickly stepped back, taking in this strange, new change in the battlefield. The three of them then snapped their heads toward the strange voice. A mysterious figure now stood among the crimson-colored field. Her form was eerie, yet very graceful to see. The blood-dead dream spirit had finally awakened. A voice then called out to them all, saying that pitiful humans, like all of them, must not have a home to go back to anymore. She looked at them and said that since they did not have a home, why did they not just stay here with her forever? She then caught the three of them in her powerful red strings. The dream spirit then goes through a dream transformation and turns into Yaru. Lucier looked at the strange scene as she asked in absolute horror, why does the dream spirit now look exactly like their Miss Mage? Dunshire tried to relax her, informing her that this was the blood-red dream spirit's most powerful and strongest skill, where they transform into the highest level player on the enemy's side to copy all of their equipment and their skills. The three of them all sat around the large crimson field as Lucier begged Yaru to please come and save her. Yurao looked around herself and then realized something. She then took out a single purple glowing stone. She started speaking mostly to herself that all of these flowers live in the deep shade. As she threw the stone down on one of the flowers, in just a single instant, she screamed out loud in realization that these flowers are afraid of the light, and that they could use the light to go and deal with them. Upon hearing that from her, Lucier used her own exclusive skill and activated the sun's blessing. As the bright, yellow energy surrounded them all, it healed all of their injuries as well. As they were all getting up, arrows came shooting directly towards them. Out of nowhere, Yura grabbed Lucier and jumped to the opposite side, as the deadly arrows pierced right through the dream spirit, who quickly changed back to its own original, true state. A lot of people came running directly towards the area, and they started to claim the ownership of the blood-red dream spirit. Yara looked at them and thought that the bright light must have attracted all of the surrounding players to them, and they all must be after the valuable reward from the blood-red dream spirit. Lioi, filled with a great deal of anger, raised her voice, saying that they were the ones who had found her, so they must have her. Yara stopped her and then whispered, telling her to just calm down for now. She instructed her that they would wait there to observe the situation, and that they would let them wear down the blood-red dream spirit first. All of a sudden, some people then came, making their way and introducing themselves as the powerful blood sect. They surrounded the blood-red dream spirit and announced that everybody else should get lost because this powerful dream spirit now belongs to the blood sect. They then started to attack all of the other players who had even tried to go near the powerful spirit. Duncy explained to them that they were from the blood sect, the most notorious and vile sect in all of Frost Peak City. He told them that he had seen them bullying ordinary players once, and that they abused their power to go and steal and kill others without ever batting an eye. Yarrow quickly stole a quick glance, and she realized that they were the very ones who had appeared at the auction, and that it would be very troublesome if they were to recognize her. She tugged on her hood to cover up her face a little more, as she told her teammates to move before they were able to catch them. As they tried to discreetly leave Wuhan, their leader called them out and threw his axe to try and stop them. The hood then moved away from her face as Wuhan said loudly that he had been right. She was the one who had stood beside Zhang Yi in the auction, and he demanded to know where in the world he was now. Yara shifted her eyes away as she muttered that she did not know what he was talking about. Soon, the whole sect surrounded them as Wuhan accused her of lying to him. He said that he did not go to the city to take his revenge, but that she had come all the way up here to deliver his revenge to him. Dun Che came in front of her, shielding her as he said that there must have been a misunderstanding because she had been traveling with them, and if they wanted the blood-red dream spirit, then they would not bother them at all anymore. One, without even listening to him, kicked Dun Che hard in the guts, sending him reeling on the floor without showing any mercy, as he said that he would not leave without getting his revenge. Lu Shur held him, as she replied that they had just come there to do a dungeon run, and that now the blood sect was doing way too much. Wu Wen only scoffed back at her, as he got back to his feet and said that if she wanted to leave so badly, she could go straight to hell, and he ran towards them to attack. Yarrow quickly used her divine talent of the undead summoners, as two powerful spirits appeared and blocked his incoming attack. The remaining players all got very scared, as they started running towards the nearest exit, saying that the blood sect was going way too far, when the lady had not even provoked them at all. Yarrow fought with him as he mocked her, saying that her partner was so very heartless, letting her come there all alone in such grave danger. She then attacked him by using her powerful fireball. She bolts, but his chilling voice roars that he offered a path of mercy. But she defied him, and now must face the consequences of his unleashed cruelty. A panicked exodus erupts from the fabled dream spirit manor. Zhang Yi intercepts a fleeing figure, demanding to know the source of the chaos within. The man gasps that the ruthless blood sect has already claimed several players' lives. Their only goal, to seize a coveted blood-red spirit, and with a tone of dread, that they've also captured a girl. A cold realization dawns on Zhang. Could it be Yara? Yara gasps for air, caught in Wuhan's merciless, suffocating grip. He snarls, his voice a low threat, offering her one final opportunity. His command is simple and cruel. Bring Zhang Yi to him now. Other members of the vile blood sect watch her with disdain. They whisper among themselves with cruel amusement, muttering what a pity for such a vibrant young girl, to throw her life away for the sake of her lover. Another one scoffs, venom dripping from his words. That coward Zhang Yi is likely cowering somewhere, trembling in utter fear. He must be too terrified to face the sheer might of their numbers. In that instant, a blinding flash of steel erupts from the shadows, instantly extinguishing their worthless lives in a heartbeat. Wuhan whirls around, drawn to the sudden, deadly commotion, just in time to see a fist rocketing directly toward his face. Zhang Yi unleashes a furious punch, his enraged roar shaking the air. His voice thunders with raw possession. How dare you touch her? The impact sends Wuhan hurtling away, releasing his grip on Yaru. He instantly sweeps Yaru into the safety of his arms. She whispers an apology for causing him such grave concern. Zhang Yi softly assures her that everything is alright, and that he will handle these despicable bastards personally. From the dust, Wu Hen rises, calling out Zhang Yi's name with fury. He snarls that our hero must be delusional to challenge him here, proclaiming this ground as the sovereign territory of the blood sect. He bellows an order for his men to capture the defiant duo, vowing that he will personally teach them a painful lesson. The entire blood sect swarms them, but Zhang Yi stands as an unbreachable shield before Yaru. Suddenly, bodies begin to drop to the ground with heavy, sickening thuds. It's Bao Wang, charging into the fray with righteous fury. He screams a vow to slaughter every last one of these villains for daring to lay a single hand on his beloved little sister. Bao Wang and Qin Long take a formidable, protective stance in front of the pair. Zhang Yi reports that Yaru is safe, though she has sustained serious injuries. He asks them to protect her with their lives, warning that the blood sect is filled with treacherous and sly individuals. Qin Long firmly vows that he will take vigilant care of her. Yaru produces a mysterious ring, holding it out toward Zhang Yi. She tells him to take the artifact, believing it will aid him greatly. Zhang Yi accepts the powerful ring of death. With a smirk, he unleashes his fury upon the blood sect's ranks, as the ring of death begins to absorb the life force of the fallen players. He scoffs internally at how the blood sect is merely a pack of rabble. He gazes at the ring, watching its ominous glow intensify, and realizes its potential for growth is absolutely staggering. Wuhan is no longer a threat. With this power, he could triumph even against a second advancement berserker. Wuhan watches, his face a mask of shock. He desperately screams for his archers to fire upon Jiang Yi. After the deadly volley of arrows finds its mark, Jiang Yi rises from the dust, thanking him for the surge of power, explaining it was just what he needed to awaken his abilities. He activates a passive skill, one trigger by damage, an ability that allows him to summon a true demonic hell dragon. He smirks as he whispers a dark promise. Now, you will all feel the wrath of the demonic hell dragon. A colossal dragon materializes from nothing, letting out a world-shaking roar. It unleashes a torrent of hellfire, the devastating dragon blaze, incinerating the terrified members of the blood sect. Wu Hen stares in disbelief, thinking that this is impossible. How could Zhang Yi have achieved such power in mere days? Their last battle, he had only won through a stroke of sheer luck. He grips his axe, charging forward with a desperate battle cry. He screams that he will claim vengeance for every one of his fallen men. But his reckless charge is halted by the cold point of a sword at his throat. He demands to know what Zhang Yi thinks he is doing, boasting that the Blood Sect is the #1 guild in all of Frost Peak City. If he dares to harm him, the guild will hunt him to the ends of the earth. Zhang Yi calmly reminds him that he has already slain him once before, and he will have no trouble doing so a second time. He informs him his sect is nothing but a congregation of evildoers, and he will cut down every last member that he encounters. And if the guild should foolishly come seeking revenge, he promises he will eradicate the entire organization from existence. With a final, decisive arc of his blade, he ends the villain's life. He whispers to the falling corpse, "Strive to be a better man in your next life." An ally asks about the fate of the captured blood-red spirit, mentioning the hefty bounty they could claim for its life. But Jiang, he gives a firm command not to harm the creature. He instructs Yaru to present the dream stone to the captive spirit. In that moment, an ethereal glow envelopes the spirit as she bids them to follow her. She leads them to the mystical waters of the dream spring. There, she calls out to the ancient, slumbering spirits, announcing that the time of their awakening is finally at hand. The water begins to churn as a new, powerful spirit emerges, introducing herself with divine grace as the god of dreams. She welcomes the prophesied chosen one with a knowing smile. The dream god reveals she has been waiting for eons, an eternity so long that she can no longer recall the passage of time. And she holds a unique, powerful gift for the first player to find her. That player is Yaru, who is bestowed with a legendary dream flower. This mystical dream flower is the key to their salvation. With this rare ingredient, their companion Blackie can finally be saved. Jiang Yi offers Yaru his deepest thanks as this was all possible due to her. Qinglong suggests the young master should scout the perimeter for threats, as there may still be remnants of the blood sect lurking nearby. Meanwhile, Bei Huang tactfully pretends not to notice the tender moment. Zhang Yi now faces the challenge of brewing the resurrection potion. He struggles, trying to replicate the intricate method used by Leifia. A system notification suddenly chimes. Player Zhang Yi has completed the mission. The objective, crafting the legendary resurrection potion. The reward for this incredible feat is a resurrection potion X1. Zhang Yi tells his loyal companion Blackie not to worry any longer. He acknowledges the great suffering he has endured, but with this elixir, his full recovery and revival are now imminent. He administers the potion to Blackie, and within moments, their vibrant and spirited Blackie is restored to them once more. In that instant, a new notification declares a hidden team quest of the Dream Spirit. Manor has officially been triggered by their actions. Zhang Yi is uncertain of what this new development entails, but he immediately commands his team to remain vigilant. The Dream God reveals a tale from 1,000 years past. The monstrous Ghost Clan launched an attack on the world of Apocalypse, but during that ancient war, the Dream Spirit Manor was the only sanctuary that was not conquered, and in a desperate effort to fight back against the Ghost Clan, 10 gods of Apocalypse fought a battle to the death. They succeeded in combining their powers to seal the Ghost Clan's king, but everything they accomplished only delayed the world's inevitable doom. And when the great battle finally concluded, the other 9 powerful gods mysteriously vanished, but the Dream God herself entered a deep protective slumber. Everything they currently see is an illusion she wove before she slept, and she has been waiting for the true chosen one to finally appear. She tasks them with a new quest: find her true body and awaken her. A new quest log appears, the Lost Dream God. It explains that after sealing the dreaded Ghost King, the true whereabouts of the 10 gods of Apocalypse are still a mystery. They are now charged with following the divine instructions to locate the physical form of the Lost Dream God. Zhang Yi gives the command, stating they have likely been teleported into the mission's domain. Just then, monstrous creatures ambush them from the shadows. Qinglong yells for Jiang Yi to be on his guard against the monsters, where Yaru bravely volunteers to hold them off. But Jiang Yi declares he will handle these new threats himself. He attempts to use a crowd control skill on the enemies, but it seems to have no effect in this strange place. It appears that the only course of action against them is to engage in a direct, head-on assault as the battle rages. Qinglong struggles to understand where these monsters appeared from. He was certain he had secured their surroundings completely. Along the entire path they were meant to travel. But according to Zhang Yi's sharp analysis, the very appearance of these monsters confirms they are the Ghost Clan, phantom warriors born from the Dream God's very own illusion. Yaru wonders aloud, since the Ghost Clan is sealed away, then what could possibly be the purpose of their appearance here? A swarm of ethereal butterflies suddenly materializes out of thin air. Observing all of these strange events, Zhang Yi theorizes they may not be in the Dream Spirit Manor at all, but have been transported directly into the Dream God's subconscious. Yaru appears completely stunned by this revelation, but Zhang Yi gravely confesses to her his theory, that dreams are not bound by the fundamental laws of their game. Therefore, according to his logic, the long-suppressed Ghost Clan warriors can simply materialize here, and even these butterflies can endlessly self-replicate. He begins to experience a series of flashbacks, recalling that the only being capable of teleporting multiple players at once is the Dream God. That is why she needs them to find and awaken her. Yara's expression becomes tense, realizing they can only escape this space after waking the Dream God. Zhang Yi activates his treasure hunter ability and boldly claims that they will soon discover the answer they seek. His senses detect something peculiar at the bottom of the deep lake. He calls out to his companions to investigate the depths with him. They all plunge into the dark, mysterious waters together. A notification appears for the water evasion mage exclusive skill. Upon activation, it grants all allies the ability to evade water's pressure. This allows them to move freely while completely submerged underwater. The spell's duration is a mere 3 minutes. Zhang Yi observes that the massive swarm of butterflies is heading toward the palace, specifically a formidable gate that seems to be an entrance to another area. But in that moment, Yaru senses something terribly wrong in the depths. Zhang Yi shouts Yaru's name in alarm, as she is suddenly ensnared by the writhing tentacles of a sea monster. He swims forward with incredible speed, and with a single sword swing, he cleanly severs the monstrous limbs of the creature, the ones that had been cruelly restraining Yaru. He urgently tells her to get safely behind him. They receive a warning that the water evasion will expire in 30 seconds. He notices the monster possesses an incredible regeneration ability. As it instantly regrows its severed tentacles before his eyes. Bawang yells in alarm that their time is up, pointing out how their vital water evasion magic is fading fast. He continues, panic creeping into his voice, declaring that they cannot continue fighting this immortal monster, insisting that they need to escape this place immediately, considering the perilous situation they are currently trapped in. Zhang Yi states that he will hold the monster off here, instructing the others to proceed and open the stone door. In the meantime, the urgent countdown has reached just 20 seconds as they desperately swim toward the massive door. Ba Huang urges Qing Long to join him in opening the great stone door, while the two of them combine their immense strength, pulling hard on each side of the heavy door to force it open. The critical countdown has now reached a mere 10 seconds. Jiang Yi struggles, having difficulty containing the monster alone. He screams for the two of them to hurry and get the door open, notifying them that there is absolutely no time left to spare. The final countdown has now hit a perilous 5 seconds, as Ba Huang tells Qing Long to put in just a little more effort, pointing out that the stubborn door is nearly open at last. After struggling for the final precious seconds to move the heavy door, the countdown finally ends, along with their vital water evasion spell. Beyond the door, they are greeted by a mysterious, shimmering barrier. Zhang Yi, who is busy severing the monster's limbs, finally looks up alongside Yaru as the stone door grinds open. Desperately extending their hands toward one another, Yaru pleads with him to take her outstretched hand. He swiftly grabs her hand, pulling her toward him just in time to save her from the monster's attack. They swim frantically towards the open doorway. Ba Huang and Qing Long have already safely crossed through the barrier. However, just as Yaru and Zhang Yi are crossing, suddenly, the relentless monster grabs Zhang Yi's leg with a powerful limb. Yaru and Qing Long each grab one of his arms and pull him with all of their combined strength towards the safety on the other side of the magical barrier. At the same time, Bao Wang raises the twin swords he is holding in both of his hands and strikes down hard on the monster's ensnaring limb, severing the tentacle and freeing Zhang Yi from its grasp. Acutely aware of the monster's rapid regeneration ability, he yells for his friends to quickly slam the door shut. He watches as the severed limb of the monster tries to reach for him again. As the door slams shut, their hearts pounding with adrenaline. They are now finally safe on the other side of the passage, surrounded by a swarm of ethereally glowing butterflies. Jiang Yi and Yaru, utterly exhausted from their fight against the monster, collapse onto the hard ground, while Qing Long rests one hand against the wall and the other upon his knee. He pants heavily as Yaru remarks how incredibly close that was, recalling the terrifying moment she was nearly swept away by the beast. Jiang Yi, hearing the lingering fear in her voice, reassures her that they are completely safe in this place now, asserting that the octopus-like monster cannot breach this sanctuary. After his breathing finally begins to stabilize, he tells his friends that they should proceed onward, stating that they need to hurry and investigate this new area. Upon moving deeper into the passage, they reach a chamber where the walls on either side of them are covered in some kind of strange, arcane rite. Looking at the unsettling inscriptions, Qing Long expresses his unease, stating the characters look bizarre and are giving him a deeply unsettling feel. Zhang Yi receives a notification that these are the writings of the Ghost Clan, and thus he informs his concerned friends of this fact. He explains that it confirms what the dream god had mentioned earlier, and this sacred place has already been desecrated by the Ghost Clan. Yaru exclaims in utter surprise and horror, remarking that an incredibly fierce battle must have occurred here, agreeing with her somber assessment of the scene. Zhang Yi says that what they are witnessing is just a small fraction of, further observing the grim and ancient surroundings. Zhang Yi begins to wonder aloud if the Ghost Clan's ancient invasion could be linked to the foretold doom, the catastrophe that is prophesied to soon unfold in apocalypse. Before much longer, a great catastrophe will descend upon Apocalypse, and absolutely no one will be capable of escaping its terrible calamity. Suddenly noticing something in the distance, Yaru points in a direction with a deeply confused expression, urging them to look over toward where she is indicated. As they turn to look in the direction she is now pointing, they see a grand, ominous staircase leading up to a figure that is bound by heavy chains from all sides. Zhong Yi, feeling a sense of dread and uncertainty, asks if the one shackled by the chains upon the high platform could possibly be the lost dream god herself. He continues that it now seems the dream god's slumber was not accidental, and there's a much larger conspiracy at play behind it all. Before Zhong Yi could even finish voicing his dark theory, the heavy chains binding the dream god are suddenly yanked taut and make a loud, ominous sound with the movement. A woman seated upon a throne addresses them, calling them insects. She demands to know if they understand whose territory they have violated. The chains attached to her regal attire clink as she rises from her throne. The Ghost Clan warden now speaks directly to the captured dream god, mentioning how she never expected her to make it all this way. She then stalks menacingly toward the bound dream god, adding how she also did not expect that after all this time, the dream god would still stubbornly refuse to accept her inevitable fate. The Ghost Clan warden suddenly snatches between her finger and thumb one of the ethereal glowing butterflies that have been flying around them, asking the dream god if she was the one who brought Zhang Yi's group here. She then mockingly asks her, with a cruel, knowing smirk, if she is aware that she has just condemned these youngsters to their doom. After speaking these chilling words, she declares she wants her to watch as they die for her foolishness. A powerful explosion suddenly erupts, throwing the warriors of the Ghost Clan away and scattering their bodies across the ground like broken dolls, all around the shocked Zhong Yi and his brave companions. Yaru shouts at the Ghost Clan warden, her voice filled with confusion, demanding to know who she is and that she release the dream god at once. The Ghost Clan warden scoffs contemptuously at Yaru's bold demand, while repeating her words back to her in a mocking tone, wishing to see if Yaru actually possesses the power to force her to let the captured dream god go free from her grasp, after threatening them by declaring they should not even think of leaving, now that they have foolishly stepped into her personal domain. She whips her chains, wrapping them around a large boulder above their heads, and yanking it down with tremendous force. The Ghost Clan warden then hurls the massive rock toward Zhang Yi and the others. Zhang Yi declares that there are numerous Ghost Clan warrior corpses here, and tells Yaru to immediately activate her undead summoner ability. After they successfully activate the powerful undead summoner talent, Yaru is met with the dream god, and she takes her hands in hers. The dream god asks for Yaru's name to confirm her identity, telling her that she is incredibly fortunate, since a power far greater than she can possibly imagine lies within her. The dream god then advises her that she must remember to always hold firm and true to her deepest beliefs. This profound exchange between the two completely shocks the Ghost Clan warden, making her eyes nearly bulge out of their sockets in disbelief. Yaru, now empowered with the help of the dream god, summons the fallen warriors of the Ghost Clan back from the dead, and commands them to intercept the massive rock that the Ghost Clan warden had just thrown directly towards their vulnerable position. The Ghost Clan warden snaps back to her senses and swings her deadly chains, causing many of the summoned rock shields to break and scatter around, while she angrily yells that the exact same trick will not work twice, since even the powerful being behind her could not defeat her might. Watching the villainous Ghost Clan warden's display, her confident boasting deeply annoys the warrior Bei Huang, and he also bravely steps forward to join the fray, asking the stunned Ghost Clan warden where all her confidence comes from, now ready to attack with his powerful, shimmering blade. Bei Huang then asks the surprised Ghost Clan warden, mockingly, about adding him into her confident equation. Xing Long, feeling equally annoyed by her arrogance, also steps into the battle, activating his golden elegy power. He declares that he will lend his strength as well. The Ghost Clan warden angrily warns them they are courting their own demise, as she throws her soul-binding chains at the two of them, who are now attacking her with their own unique abilities. The magical chains ensnare both arms of the two warriors, making Bu Huang confusedly wonder what this strange power is. The Ghost Clan warden glares at them while laughing menacingly, telling them to come and join her as her new puppets, since anyone who is bound by her powerful soul-binding chains will have no choice but to submit to her will completely. Bu Huang and Qing Long's pupils suddenly turn a bright, sinister red as they fall under the influence of the soul-binding magic, making them wonder in their last moments how this could be possible. However, before Bu Huang could even complete his question in his head, his entire expression twisted into something dangerous, as he was now fully transformed into the Ghost Clan warden's puppet. She then commands him to attack his friends, Zhang, Yi, and Yaru, laughing cruelly at their horrified expressions, while mentioning how she loves to watch former teammates turn on each other, as she yells, announcing, "Let the show begin." Bu Huang leaps into the air while swinging his deadly blade toward Yaru. Yaru is utterly confused and cannot believe her own eyes. Thus, she desperately tries reminding him that it is her, his little Ru, and tearfully asks him what could possibly be wrong with him. In order to protect her, before Bu Wang's blade could possibly reach Yaru, Zhang instantly stepped in between them and stopped Bu Wang's descending blade with his very own sword, yelling desperately at his controlled friend to wake up, as Bu Wang relentlessly swings his blade, trying to kill Yijian. Yijian refuses to give up and allow him to succeed in his dark task. Instead, he competes diligently against him, defending himself with his own sword. Yijian makes sure he remains entirely on the defensive, in case he should accidentally harm his dear friend, who is currently enslaved by the Ghost Clan Warden's dark magic. The Ghost Clan Warden, while controlling Ba Huang from afar, mentions that he has now completely become her puppet, and is now obeying only her commands without question. Yijian, who is still defending himself while also protecting Yaru, gets thrown back a considerable distance by a powerful blow, when his magic is suddenly reflected by Bei Huang's own magic, as his friend snarls at Yi Zhan to get lost from his side, barely managing to maintain his balance after the assault. Yi Zhan coughs, choked by the sudden, powerful attack, but much to his absolute surprise. By the time he regains his balance and looks up while standing, he sees that Ba Huang has managed to get dangerously close to Yaru, with a voice filled with both pain and worry. Yijian desperately pleads for Ba Huang to stop his attack, trying to make him remember that Yaru is his beloved sister. Ba Huang, however, keeps advancing with glowing red eyes and a furious expression, while pointing his deadly blade directly at the terrified Yaru. Watching her brother get closer with pure hatred in his eyes, she calls out to him, her voice trembling with absolute fear. The Ghost Clan Warden then gives a new order to Qing Long, who is now standing menacingly right behind the terrified Yaru, to not show her any mercy, demanding he shoot her in the heart, now controlled by her insidious orders. Qing Long draws 3 deadly arrows together and lets them fly. Luckily, Isan notices this and yells for Yaru to watch out behind her, but he fears it is too late, since the arrows are now so close to Yaru. Now, just as she turns around, having been warned by Yijian, much to their utter surprise and relief, one of the summoned dead warriors of the Ghost Clan steps between Yaru and the 3 deadly arrows that were about to strike her, taking the hits in her place and heroically protecting her. Yijian, with great surprise, notices that Yaru's undead summoner has become much more powerful now, since her summoned undead can now actually act independently to protect their summoner. The Ghost Clan Warden intensifies her magic by upgrading her spell into the powerful Heavenly Chain Lock, and then orders Ba Huang and Qing Long to take Zhang, Yi, and Yaru down, as Ba Huang runs mindlessly toward them while swinging his blade. The Ghost Clan Warden commands Zhang, Yi, and Yaru to just give up, stating that their pathetic fate has already been sealed by her. Zhang, Yi, and Yaru, however, refuse to surrender and shift into a defensive back-to-back stance, wielding their weapons, held ready in front of themselves in anticipation, ready to defend themselves from the imminent deadly attack. He then realizes that if they continue to fight on like this, they will only end up gravely injuring each other. He thinks that they cannot possibly go all out against Bao Wang and Qing Long. Therefore, they must find a way to escape from this hopeless fight. In order to get away from there, Zhang Yi quickly summons his loyal companion Blackie and leaps onto his back. The ghost clan warden, after seeing the mighty Blackie appear, says with a deeply mocking and condescending tone that she had thought Zhang he had some clever tricks up his sleeve when he first barged in here, but she did not expect him to be so weak, remarking that he is utterly and completely powerless against her abilities. She contemptuously calls them pitiful, insignificant humans, and uses her fate chain arrow magic to shoot her deadly chain, with its sharpened, pointed end aimed directly toward him, claiming with cruel glee that she will make him watch helplessly as his companions abandon him, one by one. Blacka blows a powerful torrent of fire at her, deflecting the chain she shot. But due to this defensive maneuver, Blacka gets thrown back by the force, crashing hard into the ground some distance away from the battle. Jang, Yi, and Yaru are also thrown off of the mighty Blackie, and he quickly and worriedly asks her if she is okay after the fall. She bravely confirms that she is indeed alright, telling him that it is only a minor scratch, nothing serious. The Ghost Clan warden then slowly walks over to the fallen Jang, straddling his legs while she kneels down over him menacingly. She lifts his chin and tells him that all of his friends and his magical beast will all become helpless slaves to the Ghost King, and that he will not be able to escape his fate either. Jiang Yi, however, instead of showing any fear towards her threats, smirks and asks her with confidence, "Is that truly the case?" She looks down at him, her expression filled with confusion, wondering what could be the reason for this sudden change in his demeanor, until she hears the mighty roar of Blackie coming from behind her. Blackie has now caught her in its mouth and stands up victoriously. Jang Yi happily remarks that his clever plan has worked perfectly. He thinks that Bu Huang and Qing Long were hit by her chains, and that is why they are now under her complete control. Therefore, he cannot allow her insidious chains to touch Blackie. He shouts for Blackie to strengthen its powerful left wing, as a deadly chain is about to strike it from the side. So Blackie quickly does as he is commanded. Yaru turns to look at Qing Long and Bao Wang, and notices that they still have not returned to their normal selves. She asks Zhong if they did not already defeat the Ghost Clan warden, then why have Qing Long and her brother not recovered from her spell yet? She begins to propose several terrifying possibilities, that maybe the spell's terrible duration has not yet ended, or maybe the evil Ghost Clan warden is somehow still alive, now transformed into a sinister-looking red spider lily. The Ghost Clan warden smirks menacingly, while saying with a confident tone that she did not expect to be fooled by their pathetic little tricks, but they are greatly underestimating her true power if they truly think this is enough to defeat her completely. Observing this new development with absolute astonishment, Zhong Yi realizes how she has used the red spider lily to switch places with her original physical body, using an advanced form of soul swap magic. To do so, he realizes this is a skill completely unique to the dream spirit, and it suddenly dawns on him that she is, in fact, a dream spirit. The Ghost Clan warden then says that she has to admit he is much tougher than she had initially thought he was. However, she will not be so careless with him anymore, and tells him that he will not get another chance to defeat her, completely ignoring her confident claim. Yaru and Jang Yi get back into their stance to protect themselves, and he asks the Ghost Clan warden if she once used to be a dream spirit, adding that this is why she fears the light, like other dream spirits do, and why she hides in this dark, oppressive underwater palace. When he demands that she finally speak the truth, and tell them why she would betray the noble dream god, she screams at him to shut his mouth immediately, saying that she does not wish to hear that name and identity ever again. She passionately claims that she is the only one who can lead their people to their eternal and glorious victory. Yet he is always taking the pathetic dream god side in this conflict. She becomes furious at him for figuring out her secret and yells for him to die, as she once again raises her deadly chains to launch an attack. Jang Yi asks the Apocalypse spirit what time it is currently. In the world of Apocalypse, at that very moment in time, the time is 6:45 in the morning. Yoru seems deeply concerned by Jang Yi's strange question, wondering what could possibly be going on in his mind now. Jang Yi questions the dark-haired girl once more, asking if she was, in fact, a dream spirit too, right? And that is the reason why she fears the light like other dream spirits, and why she hides away in this dark, underwater palace sanctuary. So, according to this new theory, Zhang Yi decides to attack her with light. But a simple light attack of that level did not seem to affect her. But Zhang Yi did not stop his assault there at all. He continued to relentlessly attack her with a light magic, which finally becomes successful as the attack is revealed to be sunlight, which causes her sweet, twisted dream to finally come to an end. But at that very moment, Zhang Yi is struck by a severe, splitting headache. The dark-haired girl now cannot recognize either of them and questions them as to who they are and why they are here. Yaru seems deeply confused by this strange turn of events, as she was not like this when she was controlling her brother and their friend Qinglong Jiang Yi, looking at her in her current state. At that moment in time, she seemed no different from the dream spirit they had met before, which means she is currently under the Ghost Clan's power and control. But in her true essence, she is a dream spirit who is weak against light, which means that when she is exposed to sources of strong light, she will lose all of her immense spiritual powers and abilities. The dream god has now awakened her true dream spirit, and she went to her children feeling a deep sorrow for them, as she had been lost due to the Ghost Clan King's manipulation, and she thanked them for finally saving her from her prison. She also claims that 100 years ago, after the dreaded Ghost Clan's king was finally sealed away, all of the remaining evil spirits manipulated her people, and she was in a very deep sleep at the time, due to the complete exhaustion of her vast spiritual powers. She also had a prophetic dream during her slumber, in which she saw the dark forces of the Ghost Clan rising to power and taking complete control of the world once again, even though she could not tell if that was simply a dream or a true divine message from the heavens above. But she was unable to simply stand by and watch the apocalypse fall into chaos. And in order to finally wake up from her slumber, she had to leave a powerful illusion in the dream spirit manner to guide the challengers, and it was not until one finally appeared that the dream spirit manor has now returned to its original pristine state. A notification suddenly pops up on their screens, congratulating Zhong Yi's team for finally completing the quest. The quest, Lost Dream God, and for obtaining the powerful artifact, the Dream God's Blessing, and also a piece of legendary equipment. The Dream God now gives them the new piece of equipment as their reward for successfully completing the difficult mission. Zhang Yi, Bao Wang, and Qinglong begin to discuss the amount of new equipment, which also includes Duanfang and Xiaoyao's deserved share, which seems to be more than enough for every member of their party. Zhang Yi wants them both to have a look at what they might want. Qinglong desires the powerful Dream God's bracers, and Bao Wang seems greatly attracted to the Dream God's armor. The Dream God calls out to Yuru and hands over a special item to her. The notification shows that the item is the Dream God's Blessing artifact, which has a level requirement of 50 to be equipped. The type of weapon is a staff, and the character's attributes are boosted by 20%. And an additional attached skill is that all members of the wielder's team will receive a 20% attribute boost from its power. Yaru seems very confused and questions the Dream God if that is for her. The Dream God then says to her that Yaru's unique talent card was originally formed from the Dream God's own powers, which is the absolute purest form of God power in existence. And she feels that Yaru is essentially another version of her own being. That is why she has decided to bestow this incredible gift upon her. Zhang Yi also thinks that Yaru's undead ability and her summoner talent are both very similar to the Dream Gods and her summoning skills. That is why the God-level talent cards actually gather together the power of various different deities that are found throughout the world of the apocalypse. With her, she also has one request for her and for the apocalypse, which is to quickly find the remaining 9 deities. And if calamity truly descends, she wants Yuru to believe that whatever Dream God herself can do for the apocalypse, she can also do that at the Dream Spirit Manor. Qinglong finds that place completely different from before, according to Jiang Yi. Maybe that is how the Dream Spirit Manor originally looked, as it was like that before because of the Ghost Clan's influence. Suddenly, Li Shu starts coughing. Yara wants to know what has happened to her. The Blood Sect team arrives, and one of their members points out to Zhang Yi's team that they are the ones who killed young Master Shuai. And the Blood Sect team's master commands them to capture them all. Zhang Yi felt that the Blood Sect team came to take revenge for Wuhan. Shuai Yara shouts at them, mentioning that they are the evil ones. There Yaru takes out her Dream God's Blessing. Blood Sect team members try to figure out if it is really the Dream God's artifact. in Yaru's hand, as if they have found the dream god. But they won't believe as they find Yaru, a little girl, as their blood sect has been searching for the dream god for years and haven't found anything yet. So they think she must be holding a fake artifact to fool them. Their master commands them to attack them as the attack starts. All the Jiang Yi's team members get a 20% attribute boost. All of the blood team sect members are defeated, but only 3 of them are left. They still try to figure out if she has actually acquired the dream god's artifact. One of the blood sect team's members questions his elder one about what they should do. As all the guys are defeated, their master, by seeing them lose all hope, punches them as he won't believe. Blood sects have raised 2 spineless cowards like them. He commands an ambush to come out. Jiang, he wants everyone on his team to be careful of that. The elder member of the blood sect team threatens them that, as they have slaughtered many of his team members. How can he not take revenge in order to save their dignity? And only their group is going to walk out of there alive. He activates the blood sacrifice grand formation and asks Zhang Yi's team to prepare for dying. Zhang, he tries to figure out what kind of skill that is, which seems like a formation skill. That requires multiple people to activate, so they need to be really careful. Zhang, he wants Ba Huang to stay there, as he is going to the front to have a look, to see if there is a way out, while Ba Huang is going to check on the other side. Yuru wants them both to come back if it doesn't work out. Jiang, he went on the front side there. He felt the boundary of the blood sacrifice blood formation, and he tried to break that. The elder master came there and threatened Zhang Yi that he wouldn't be able to escape from there, as those who are trapped in the blood sacrifice grand formation cannot leave. Zhang Yi and Bao Wang, after several tries, came back as they both are not able to break the formation barrier. The elder master of the blood sect team strengthens the blood sacrifice formation, and all the members of Zhang Yi's team are surrounded by the vengeful spirits. Zhang Yi again tries to kill them. The master calls him out and tells him not to waste his energy, as the number of vengeful spirits in that formation is only going to keep increasing, and he won't be able to kill them all. And to Jiang Yi, it seems that the power of blood sacrifice grand formation lies in draining the opponent's vitality and energy through the endless stream of vengeful spirits. And in the end, the opponent is slowly going to death. A vengeful spirit in an instant grabs Zhang Yi's body, whispers sweet temptation into his ear. She claims that he won't be able to escape her grasp. She tells him she felt lonely and asks why he wouldn't stay with her. Jiang Yi struggles to break free from her control. He clarifies about not wanting to be involved with vengeful spirits. Deep down, he knows these spirits are very troublesome, but Huang worries they don't know what to do. The number of vengeful spirits are increasing. If this continues, they won't last longer. So they need to find a way to destroy this formation. Ba Huang suspects those 4 stone tablets must be the key to the formation. Only by destroying those tablets can they escape from this formation, not having any other choice. He gathers spiritual power into his sword. The furious, resentful spirits open their mouths wide and keep screaming. Ba Huang thinks while fighting earlier, they spread out their attacks on the barrier. So if they concentrate their attacks on one point, they might be able to break through. Therefore he commands Qing, Long, and Yadu to focus their power on attacking the stone tablet. Meanwhile, he decides to go and save Zhang Yi at the Dream Spirit Manor. Dai Wu is walking on the street, upset as she thought she could make a quick buck with the blood. Red Dream Spirit, but someone already stole it first. Suddenly she discovers a large disturbance ahead, which startled her thoughts. What is going on, didn't they say? The mission involving the Blood Red Dream Spirit has ended. Why is there such a big commotion? Without wasting any time, she immediately charges forward to check. She's puzzled, her mind races with many questions. Why are there so many bodies of Bloodseeker members scattered around here? They're the same elders of the Blood Sect, and they are performing the Blood Sacrifice Grand Formation. The last time the Blood Sect used the Blood Sacrifice Grand Formation was when they attacked Frost Peak City and slaughtered the Beast Tribe leader. Now, are they targeting the Dream Spiritime Manor? All of this is so confusing for her. So she continues observing. But to her surprise, she discovers Zhang Yi there. She doesn't understand how he got captured by the Blood Sect, though she realizes he actually broke through the Blood Sect's Grand Formation. Thus, if she can team up with Zhang Yi, they could wipe out the Blood Sect and go. The formation is sustained by the blood chi of these old men. If one of them falls, the formation will definitely be affected. Once it is destroyed, they will all suffer backlash. Thinking about all of this, Without hesitating, she immediately stops and jumps up. At this moment, Dai Wu flips in midair, targeting the chest of one of the elders. She strikes slashes, and he is sent back to Mother Earth. Moving forward, she activated the stealth skill to leave, hoping that Zhang Yi can handle the rest, as she has already broken the formation. Inside the blood sacrifice grand formation, the vengeful spirit controlling Zhang Yi is confused. It is suffering backlash as the formation broke even. Zhang Yi can sense its power suddenly weaken. Using his full force, he throws her out of his grip. Far away, she screams in helplessness. At the same time, Bei Huang appears, confirming if Zhang Yi is okay. But Zhang Yi assures him he is even, and even the formation is broken. So it is their turn to fight back, seeing the formation destabilizing. Tension grows thicker in the surroundings. The grand formation is about to collapse. If they don't get out of here quickly, they will be trapped here forever. Hearing this, Yuru and Qinglong carry Lu Shu and move towards Jiang Yi and Baowang. They need to quickly jump over and leave without wasting any time. When they jumped over, Qinglong saw everyone being cared for. Only he was alone, so gets jealous. Meanwhile, Jin Yun Shui grits his teeth in anger, claiming today no one will leave this formation alive. Just then he summons a large hand, shooting demoning energy. A huge explosion occurs with smoke covering the whole surround. Because of that energy stream, Jin Yun Shu arrogantly claims even if the blood sect dies, he will take all of them to grave with him. After a few minutes, the smoke gradually clears. Zhang Yi's team becomes visible. They were slightly injured because of the demonic energy. This makes Jin Yun Cho more angry, as he wanted them dead. Jin Yi is firm about the fact that they won't be dying this easily. Zun Li Divu Apius, activating the illusory chain dance skill and alerting them to grab the rope. Hearing the command, Zhang immediately grabs the rope tightly, while promising Huyu Chuanvan. The blood sect has committed all sorts of evil. Today they will put an end to his villainy. The elder man can't help but freeze at his place, due to the backlash from the blood sacrifice grand formation. Just then he grabs his sword and charges straight at the old man, and the system announces player Jin Yun Shui, the bloodband sect grand elder. Before the blood sacrifice formation explodes, they all are safely rescued just in time by Jiu. Zhanghua expresses her gratitude, since they couldn't have finished off the blood sect without her. But it was not a big deal for her, as the blood sect was even her enemy, and she also wanted to repay him for his help in Dawn City. She then takes out 5 bottles of HP potions and hands them to them to cure their wounds. These are the best HP potions from Frost Peak City, and many players are scrambling to get them. She also apologizes to Yaru for the ring incident earlier, while everyone else uses their health potions. Zhang Yi starts thinking about many things. He wonders why it suddenly returned to Frost Peak. He knows that the blood sect is hunting her, so her sudden return doesn't make sense to him. Unable to hold back his curiosity, he decides to ask her directly. She reveals the most dangerous place is the safest place. Those idiots from the blood sect would never think. She is living right under their nose. But at the same time, she suggests Zhang Yi to worry about himself. He is a thorn in Carol's side. De looks at Zhang Yi and asks if he has any idea how much his bounty has increased. At the Assassin's Guild, she informs him of the new amount, 1 million. Zhang's eyes widened in shock, realizing Carol really went out to deal with him. Du then adds now that the blood sect has been eliminated, she can freely roam Frost Peak City. At last she will get back to her contracts. Now, however, since Frost Peak City has lost its leader, Carol will definitely try to take advantage of the situation. Receiving this information, Yaru turns to Zhang Yi saying, the blood sect people were evil. The remaining beast race players are innocent. Moreover, Dream Spirit Manor has just resurfaced. If it's exploited by Carol, the consequences would be unimaginable. But Zhang Yi assures her he won't let Carol succeed. Upon the arrival at Frost Peak City, Lu Shu introduces the main city of the beast race. Frost Peak City when they are not out doing missions. This is where they reside. When Yaru and Zhang Yi passed by, the city residents began buzzing with discussion. People were talking about how a group of human players wiped out the blood sect. Some citizens are truly shocked. After all, the blood sect was the biggest guild in Frost Peak City. How could such a small team take them down? Others say it's true. I even heard that. The group found the dream god and got a powerful artifact from the whole ordeal. Yaru whispers to Zhang Yi, since they enter the city, The Beast Race players have been secretly watching them. Besides the Blood Sect, no one else should know they have the artifact. But she gets to know that Qinglong told them before they left. He had Qinglong enter Frost Peak City first, to spread the news that their guild destroyed the Blood Sect and obtained the Dream God's artifact. This way they can keep them checked as they enter the city. Otherwise, these Beast Race players would be hard to deal with. This really impressed Yaru in his thoughts. He knows here strength is king. To become the leader of Frost Peak City, they must expand their guild strength and make it the top guild in Frost Peak City. At the Guild Management Association, Lushu enthusiastically informs them about the Guild Management Association of Frost Peak City. A girl comes out to welcome the human race, assuring them to feel free to ask anything they need. They offer all kinds of services here. She is so excited that she directly grabs Zhang Yi's arm. Her affectionate gaze makes him unexpectedly blush. Seeing this, Yaru gets annoyed. But Johnny politely declines any weird services and clarifies that he is only here to upgrade the guild level. He then opens the system panel. The system displays the information of the guild and the guild members as well. The girl announces based on his current guild contribution points, his guild level has been upgraded to level 5. Once his guild contribution points meet the upgrade requirements again, he is welcome back anytime. Now Johnny decided to recruit powerful players in Frost Peak City in their guild to make it this city's strongest guild. Afterwards, he stands up on the platform of the guild association with his guild, announces he needs their help, and offers them to join his guild so they can build a free speech city that is free from exploitation. A guy in the crowd assures them to count him in, as he remembers when he was attacked by the Blood Sect at Dream Spirit Manor. It was Zhong Yi's guild members who protected him. Everyone is motivated and encouraged to join the guild. Meanwhile, a mysterious figure watches from afar, realizing how badly they misunderstood Zhong Yi. Later on, at the Lion King's Pride Tavern, all the players are having dinner. A player announces that the Godslayer Guild has surpassed the Carefree Pavilion Guild in combat power, making it the top-ranked guild in Frost Peak City. They all then cheer for their guild leader. Everyone raised their glasses in celebration. Suddenly, Qinglong makes a sign and calls Zhang Yi outside, revealing something strange has happened in the city. He followed Zhang Yi's instructions to buy health potions, but all the shops in the city are all out of stock. Other potions and equipment were sold out as well. Jiang Wei understands. Someone is buying all the items from Frost Peak City shops, and now no one can buy anything from Frost Peak City. It looks like that person wants them to have a hard time. In Frost Peak City, a question arises in his mind. Who has such terrifying financial power to buy out an entire city overnight? They must catch the mastermind before panic spreads. The night falls in Frost Peak City. Zhang Yi gathers everyone, announcing the shops in the city will restock tonight. So if someone is deliberately causing trouble by buying out the shops, they will definitely show up tonight. In that case, he commands everyone to stay vigilant at their respective shops. If they see anyone acting suspiciously, they can note down their movements and attire. They should avoid direct confrontation, to not make the culprit alert about their presence. In an instant, Diego appears, chasing someone in a black mask. It seems the person took something from her. Seeing that, Zhong Yi orders everyone to proceed according to the plan, and he will go check what is happening first. On the other hand, the masked people immediately pull out several exploding meteors and throw them at Dai Wu. Panic washes over Dai Wu's face. Bombing is not allowed in the city, but the two masked men threaten to blow everyone to pieces. Jiang Yi rushes in time to catch her, saving her from the explosion. He questions her about the masked man and the reason behind the person throwing bombs in the city. Dai Wu explains that those two have been sneaking around, looking for shops since they entered the city. She followed them and found out they are planning to buy out all the items in Frost Peak City. Learning that news, he grabs her hand and decides to deal with them together. Both the masked men worry about seeing another person join DEW. Their mission in Frost Peak City doesn't include fighting them, but Diwu and Zhang Yi are determined to catch them. Unable to find any solution, they both throw their bombs at them. But at the same time, one of the guild members arrives there in time, uses the colossal reinforced shield to create a barrier, and the bombs end up bouncing back due to its elasticity. Yaru rushes to them, confirming if they are okay, and informs them about many innocent players being injured. But Qingalong and Lu Shu are attending to their wounds now, as the smoke caused by the bombs disappears. The culprits can be lying on the ground. These two are indiscriminately bombing the city. They don't seem like ordinary players. They are more like members of the Divine Guild in Moonlight City. Zhang Yi and Bao Huang step forward to them, noticing a symbol on their cloaks. It has been seen on the members of the Divine Guild. Maybe Carol is behind all this. Pressing forward, Zhang Yi suggests Yaru and Bao Wang stay in Frost Peak City temporarily and help stabilize things if anything unexpected happens. But he is heading to Moonlight City to see what Carol is up to. Yaru's expressions are filled with worry, and she reminds him to be very careful, after which it is Carol's territory. But Divu interrupts them, announcing she is going too, as she has worked with Carol before. At the Moonlight City, Zhang Yi and Divu wear the same masks and cloaks of the culprits, with the symbol, and pretend to be the people of Carol, lying to the guards that the guild leader assign a mission to them, being informed of that the guards allow them to enter the place. As soon as they entered a place, the commander pointed and called out to them. The commander demands to know what happened to them. Why are they so late? Zhang Yi calms himself down and politely answers that a minor incident delayed them, hearing that he didn't ask more, but warned them to hurry and join the time. If not, they would cause a delay, and they would be in big trouble. They join the queue and observe those potions and equipment in those cages. It is clearly different from theirs, though they might have bought it from another city. There's a lot of equipment from the human race in there as well, so they should follow them. And see, they hear a warning for everyone to go in one by one. Drop their stuff and come out immediately. The commander won't be responsible if they dawdle and lose their life. They took turns pushing the door to enter the room. As soon as one of the people goes inside, he cries out for help, but the commander orders everyone to ignore it, as it was just an accident and they should keep going. Johnny and Diego go inside too, but she is so startled and scared, dropping everything from her hand while hugging Zhang Yi. Both are shocked, as there are a bunch of magical beasts in there who Carol tamed. Probably Zhang Yi commands everyone to stay calm and hide their fear. They will alarm these magical beasts because if they smell fear, they will immediately think that the people in here are the prey and will attack. However, Zhang Yi has realized one thing. Carol sent those hooded men to other cities to buy out the shops in order to feed these magical beasts. He wants to convert those items into experience to accelerate their growth. Varel is really ruthless. Magical beasts raised this way have no bond with their master and are prone to going berserk. Just then Carol appeared there, coming to check on the progress of the magical beast train. He walks over to the imprisoned beasts, studies them, and understands that at this rate, it will take about 2 weeks to complete the train. As soon as the giant beast in the cage spots its master, it roars and breathes fire outward. Although Carol wasn't paying attention, Zhang Yi cleverly rushed to copy and successfully duplicated the divine talent. Tycoon and monster and dungeon drop rewards were doubled to 100. 100 drops is a lot. No wonder Carol has so much money and magical beasts. The reward Zhang Yi gets from 100 runs is what Carol gets from 1 run. At the same time, Carol pulls out a legendary item, the Silver Dragon Flute, an exclusive item for beast tamers. He calls his subordinates a bunch of losers, then begins playing the flute function. The sound of the flute can control magical beasts. Jinji quickly recognizes it is the Silver Dragon Flute. It's said that its tune can even control ancient dragons, but its drop rate in dungeons is very low. Only a few beast masters can get it. It seems like Carol's divine talent really helped him a lot. After controlling the beasts, Carol turns back to the commander who is kneeling down before him. He orders the commander to hurry and speed up their train, as the knights are all waiting for his magical beasts. If he delays his siege plan, he threatens to feed him to the magical beasts. Meanwhile, Dai Wu was still frightened from seeing those beasts, so Zhang Yi asked with concern if she was all right, and told her to leave as they had finished the investigation. As they proceed to escape, Carol appears behind them, ordering them to stop right there. Hearing his call, Zhang Yi and Dao Wu are startled, assuming maybe they have been discovered. Carol's expressions are cold and unreadable, but not to be on the suspect list. Zhang Yi hesitantly questions if the guild leader has any orders for them. But Carol doesn't suspect anything and commands them to clean up the corpses, just like everyone else is busy. He clenches his fists in anger, cursing them for being a bunch of useless trash roaming around. Finally, after an intense time of being there in front of Carol, together, they clean up the corpses of the men in black and move them outside. Diwoo can't wait to go back and have a good sleep. Though they're safe now, so Jong-yi suggests they should get going. At the Frost Peak City in Rooftop, Jong-yi sits alone lost in thought. His mind drifts until Yaru approaches him, noticing that he has seemed preoccupied ever since they returned from Moonlight City. She asks if something happened. Without hesitating, he explains that during this trip to Moonlight, he discovered that Carol has been secretly raising an army of magical beasts. He even seems to have paired these magical beasts with a night squad, as he heard Carol mentioning a siege plan while they were leaving. If his guess is right, Carol formed the magical Beast Knight squad to attack other cities. This makes Yaru worried, and she wonders if they can withstand Carol's attack. But Jong-yi denies it. Frost Peak City's current building defense level is only at the elementary stage. If a large number of magical beasts attack at once, the defensive building will be destroyed instantly. However, they still have a chance in the apocalypse. There is an elemental crystal containing special powers. It can withstand the heat of a dragon's breath and also strengthen city buildings. After upgrading the crystal, it can also be used for counterattacks. This precious crystal can only be mined by goblins who have lived underground for a long time. They will have a fighting chance if they can find enough elemental crystals. Before Carol's magical Beast Knight squad is completed, he turns to Yaru requesting a favor. He's going to find elemental crystals. Frost Peak City needs her protection and management. Dundwan and Xiao Yao are still in the City of Dawn, though he will call them to assist with Yaru. Yaru is okay with him going and looking for the elemental crystals and assures them here in Frost Peak City everything will be fine at the edge of the forest while exploring. Jong-yi thinks about goblins. Usually they live in the outskirts. Far from the cities, they are active around this forest, so he should be able to find traces of them. As soon as he moves forward, he spots a giant's footprint on the ground. But giants shouldn't be active in this area. There must be a reason why one suddenly appeared here. Giants and goblins are two races that have been fighting for centuries. The giant race exploits its physical superiority to enslave the goblins, while the goblin race relies on its agility and diverse inventions to resist giants. So the sudden appearance of a giant might be related to goblins. Suddenly a loud voice startled him. A giant is sitting in front of a tree, shouting into it. It was intimidating a little spirit seeing this. Johnny reaches out and launches an attack. This strike makes the giant fall backward. He can't stand bullies like him, who pick on the weak just because they are big. The giant grits his teeth in anger, immediately grabs a nearby tree, turns, and thrusts the large tree down hard at where Jong-yi was standing. Jong-yi swiftly jumps up to dodge the attack with his agile body. The giant's strength lies in their overwhelming power due to their massive size, but their weakness is also very obvious, and that is their lack of agility. Because of the tree, the smoke makes Jong-yi's appearance not that visible to the giant. Taking this as an opportunity, Jong-yi swings his sharp sword, striking and finishing off the giant. The system immediately informs that Jong-yi's level has increased to 60. Jong-yi is impressed by this divine talent he copied from Carol. With this talent, not only does his leveling speed increase significantly, but even defeating a regular monster gives him tons of gold. Sudden movement caught Jong-yi's attention. It is the little earth spirit. Jong-yi goes to her, extends his hand, and assures her it is safe so she can come out. The little spirit hesitates a bit, but when Jong-yi gives her a warm smile, the little spirit reaches out to him